So, hello everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode. It is the 6th CWA podcast, and we have with us today the one and only Chicken23 and co-host, the legend Mablak. Hi guys.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Yes, so obviously, we know what we have to do first is pass it over to Mablak for the infamous first question.
All right, the legendary player, Chicken23, part of the CKC Clan. Let's get the interview rolling. If people don't know who he is, he's an incredible player. He, I would say, specializes in like strategy and ground schemes in Worms Armageddon, and he's played a really long time, probably longer than me, I'm assuming. We'll figure that out. But to start things off, Chicken, how many worms have you killed?
So while we were chatting pre-live, I had a quick look and opened up my team, and it only said 3,000 worms, but that's like, I think, just since like on this laptop. So I would easily go, I don't know. It's a lot. I've been playing for over 25 years. And obviously I've killed worms, not just from Worms Armageddon, but in like as a kid in Worms 2 and even like Pixel Worms. So
even in
maybe
real life,
100,000 worms.
I thought that's what he was about to say as a kid with a magnifying glass.
I killed many worms as a child.
Yeah, no, maybe I did, but I'd say maybe, I don't know if I could be way off with maybe 100,000. I don't know if that's too much or too little. I'm not sure. A lot of worms.
I'll accept that. I think that's. I think that if you extrapolate like the 3,000, just multiply it. I think that works out. Like 3,000 per every 6 months. Something like that.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to check mine because I keep reinstalling Windows on different computers and stuff. So.
Yeah. But I thought because I transferred the team file from one computer to another, but I think I didn't, and I just recreated it and put all the worm names exactly the same because I've had the Red Rooster team for many years now. But yeah. I was like, what, 3,000? It must be more than that. Because if you think about it, like I'm playing ground schemes, so it's more than like one worm in Roper, or I'm not killing worms in, rope race. So there's at least 4 most matches, and then I guess if I'm playing like intermediate, there's 8 worms there. So maybe each game's got an average of 4 because there might be some BNGs and some intermediate. So like.
Right.
Yeah.
It does depend on the scheme. Like if you were just a pure BNG player, your count would be low, which would reflect your skill.
Yeah.
Speaking of that though, this wasn't on our question list, but where does the name Chicken23 come from? What happened to the 22 other chickens?
Yeah, so I've been asked this a few times because I've used the same name in Blood Bowl as well. So, but basically, chicken. I originally, when I was younger and got into worms, at the time I was kind of like not obsessed, but found like the Chicken Run movie really cool. Like I don't know if you know Wallace and Gromit, like a UK person that makes all the things out of plasticine, like those stop motion films. And the film Chicken Run had just came out. And I was probably in like year 9 at school. I'm not sure what grade that would be. Do you know, Kamito, what year 9 would be in American grades?
I don't have a clue. I don't know what the American school system's like, apart from they have guns.
Ninth grade is like first year of high school for us.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably like second year. Like high school, we start and we're 12 years old, and so. I was probably about like 14, maybe 13, and the film came out.
In the chat, McCanny1992 says age 15.
Okay, yeah, it was probably before that then. And basically, the film had just come out, so I thought it was a really cool film, and I thought chickens were funny, and I just liked chickens. And then Wormnet had official logins. So I got Worms. I had Worms Armageddon, and I had to create an account, and Chicken was already taken, so I couldn't take the username Chicken. So I had to put 23 in the end because that was the day in the month that I was born. So it's because of my birthday. So I was born on the 23rd of January.
Yeah,
So yeah,
back in the good old days of when we actually had ranks. To add to
yeah,
that question though, it's actually interesting because now you actually have chickens, don't you?
not anymore. It's a
Oh,
bit of
Oh,
oh,
a sore subject. Foxhound must have completely owned me one day because the chickens got foxed.
oh, that's a shame.
oh no.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh, yeah, but they were yeah. We had chickens for a while, quite a few years. The kids loved them and stuff, but it happens to every poultry owner at some point. You have to like make things really fox proof, and they're quite like a burden. Like every night you have to like lock up the hatch and stuff. And like if I'd gone out and had like gone for an evening meal or a few beers with friends with mates in the afternoon and got back and it's already dark, then yeah, like so one morning we woke up or one evening and there was just feathers everywhere. So yeah.
Oof. Well, did you at
yeah.
least did
When
you
the foxes see that the head chicken has left, they will come out.
did you at least
Yeah.
make a pillow from all the feathers?
No, no. And I think my wife's in the chat because I told her about tonight, and she's explaining as well that one was unwell and we had
Oh,
to get it put down.
oh
To
no.
Uh,
heart attack from the bad windy. What? They can have a
yeah,
heart attack from bad windy weather. And
there was a
chicken
massive
number three.
storm. There was enough massive storm, so we think like all the thunder and lightning and the wind and
Uh,
everything caused
just
it to like
stressing
die
it
of
out.
shock. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
shame.
It's a
Right.
shame.
So, yeah, the next question. When did you start playing the game? Which I think we've kind of covered. But did you start with Worms 2, Worms Armageddon, or Worms World Party?
Started with the game before Worms 2, really. The pixelated Worms
Ah,
original.
ah,
Yeah. But I wasn't obviously
Nice.
playing it online. I was just a kid and like knew of Worms and the tiny like lemon graphics shooting the bazookas and stuff
yeah.
like that. So yeah, and then Worms 2 came out and like I would play it with my brother and my cousins, like hot seating, and it was really cool. So I had like the homing cluster bomb and like all those cool like the clone sheep I think and stuff, and we just used to like play like the schemes that came with it. So I was familiar with the kind of game mechanics through Worms 2. And I remember I actually went online on Worms 2 once and like saw people ninja roping and like played a game and got completely owned, and it was like, oh my god, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm
And
not
then I was
doing
like,
that again. I'll stick to
yeah.
Team 17.
Well, I was like,
Right.
okay, that's what Worms Online is. And then like I didn't really play a game online. I only did it like once or twice on Worms 2. And then Worms Armageddon came out and like eventually, my brother kind of lost interest and like I was like, well, let's try playing it online. So that's like, well, so Worms Armageddon came out in 1999 and I pretty much went straight on WormNet. Like I had a go at the missions and stuff and things. I think I like you had to complete them to unlock something, didn't you? I remember, and I did
I,
that.
yeah. Like just certain
No.
settings for like, I don't know if there's anything like online that it unlocked. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
it's like having like God mode and like some other
yeah,
things.
yeah. So I was like motivated to do the missions to unlock it, but this is all 1999, and I still had like the dial-up modem at the time, and my parents would like get annoyed because the phone bill went through the roof because obviously like you're on a phone call, so you're getting charged whatever the phone call
Right.
landline is. And I
Yeah.
had to like my dad was just like, you're gonna you the phone bill's too high, you
Uh-huh.
can't play this game anymore, you need to like contribute towards the phone bill. So I was like getting my pocket money and putting pounds and like money in a jar to like help cover the phone bill to play Worms, which was
Holy shit.
So the
You
yeah.
had to pay
important
to play Worms?
I had
You
to
were on pay to play.
I was on pay to play because I made the phone bill so high.
so
So
the important question here from KRD, did you immediately know to double click the WormNet login button? Or did that take you a while to figure out?
I think I immediately knew. I don't know. I didn't have any problems. I just like I remember going on. I remember like trying to register chicken and it being like, sorry, this username's already taken or whatever it
Mhm.
was. And I
Yeah.
can't remember if that was on WormNet login or if you had to do it via the Team 17
So
site.
did you ever meet the original chicken, or did you try chicken 1, taken, chicken 2, taken, chicken 3?
No.
So, yeah.
I
So,
just went. Yeah, I tried chicken, and then it was taken. I never saw a chicken on there. You know, there was Sarge McCluck in WWW or something, and a
yeah.
few other poultry people, but
Oh,
there
yeah.
was like there was no. I never saw the actual chicken that took my name. But then I just put 23 in. It was the second thing I tried, and I was happy with that. So
What
yeah.
what I love about the 23 is that's like when people miss with the shotgun slightly, 23 is the amount of damage that you can sometimes get.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
never thought about that.
people used to think
Tickets
it
to
was
like
my
yeah.
And maybe
yeah.
If you got better,
23's
you would be chicken
watching.
25.
Yeah.
Maybe, and people used to think it was my age as well, and I was like, oh no, I'm like 16 or 15.
Right.
I don't know how old I would have been in
23,
1999.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I
It's
remember like turning
yeah.
23, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm now the age of Chicken 23, and now I'm like 38. So yeah,
No,
You could just have it go up every year. It would
yeah,
be like
be like
it'd be too
Chicken
much work.
82, hopefully one day.
Oh god.
Still
But
playing.
yeah, anytime I see someone with like something something 87, I'm like, oh, okay, that was when they were born.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like 88. That's like, okay, we got a fellow salty dog over
Could be
here.
worse. Could have been born in 1923, and it doesn't surprise me because I remember when I first started playing
Yeah.
Worms Armageddon, and there was a clan Git, and they were all in their 40s or 50s
They
in
were.
1999.
Yeah.
They'll be
Yeah.
pensioners now.
Yeah, they would. Like
Real.
all those Git guys was like Bamf and
Yeah,
he was a
Bud.
BNG. He was really good.
Bud, he was really good. Bud.
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember some of the other names, but like Poo Machine and like all the guys that like founded Clan CK2L, whatever it was. I can't remember the acronym now. They were all like older than us. You know, Sloth.
Yeah.
Was he in Git? Slothball or Sloth? He was.
I
pretty
think
good.
so, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can actually, in fact, I can't. For some reason, tonight, I don't know why, but when I click on my Internet Explorer, you guys get hidden for some reason. And I don't know
That's
why. So that's why I'm using my phone to look at the chat today. And I've got all the questions on my tablet here. So I need to figure out why it's doing that. I can't look at the internet right now, but if you go to the Worms 2D website and you click on people, there's a list of all the names of all the players from the past, and you'll probably find that player and what clan they were in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a nice thing about so worms2d.info. If anyone goes there, just go to people. We don't have an entry for like every single person who's ever played the game, but a lot of notable players. Like we have a little like entry about like who this person is and like what they've
have a
done.
page. I'm just listed, but don't have a page.
Oh well, yeah, okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
We should. Well, someone has to fill that in. KRD, get on it.
So
He's our Korean Red Dragon is our historian of.
also
Worms.
Coridex, he's a very and Foxhound. The three of them are like our historians. That Coridex and KRD especially, they know so much from the past.
And I've got data on some of the leagues that I was like a admin on and kind of helped run, like when we weren't before TUS. I think I've given like there was Ecstasy, XTC. There was one with
XTC
Veg.
League.
I remember that. Yeah.
And maybe it was WL. I can't remember the others, but I've given
Worms
some.
League.
Yeah, Armageddon League. That's it. I gave some data to them because I had like the little trophies that someone made and some of the standings and stuff. So I hope I've like plugged a few gaps because there was a bit of a period, wasn't there, where like First Blood kind of tapered off before TUS was like invented, where there was like a few like smaller leagues that didn't last as long.
Yeah, TUS
Right. It was,
is the longest running league that we've had, or should we say it's not actually the longest running league. It's the longest running mainstream league because NNN or ONL is probably the longest running league from the game itself because they've been around since 2002, or 2003 since they made the CWT. Quick quick actual good news, by the way, for anybody watching. CWT is happening this year. The website's there. The sign-ups will start. So good news for that. Sorry for interrupting with that good news, but since you got that, everybody would like to know that, because both you guys like to participate. So next question, my black.
All right. So Chicken, according to legend, the CKC Clan was founded around Easter in the year 2000. How did it begin? And were you there from the very start?
Yeah, I'm the founder. I created the clan. How did it start? So I think I was a noob, as we all were at one point when I went on WormNet, and I kind of became like the guys in HOS kind of took me under their wing. So I became good friends, like online friends, with Link and Max Damage, and they were the kind of guys that like I was playing with, and they let me join their funners. They weren't booting me out, so I was in their warmers, and they were really into ground schemes rather than just always roping. And these guys like had the elite, from playing the ranks, they had the elite rank. I only got up to 2 stars and silver, I think. I never got elite rank before the ranks went down. But anyway, so they kind of took me under the wing, and they were all in HUS. And then I saw like WAC kind of existed, like the clan league, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm not good enough to join a clan because they're all like pros, so I'll create one. And basically it started from there, and I founded the clan, and one of my friends from school, a guy called Ashley, whose WormNet name I think was around Ashley, he joined. And then there was another member, I think a lady called Stippy or something, and she was like just a woman in the UK that played Worms and was a bit older than me. So she was like one of the few first members. And eventually, like, I got better at Worms. I was like playing a lot with Max Damage, Link, I'll Be Back.
Oh, Link. Link was like my idol, man.
Yeah. And I remember
really good players.
Yeah, and I remember then I was like getting more competitive, and I was starting to like beat them in BNG, and they were like, okay, this guy's getting better at Worms. And then as I got better, it attracted better players. So there was like Kyle Albright or LeChuck. I think he was one of the early members.
Oh, I remember LeChuck. He was a good roper as well.
Yeah, Pod, POD. He was from America. He was pretty good at roping and stuff. And we just like became a bit more competitive. And I think the way that, it was Easter 2000, and then I don't know when it, like how the seasons or however it ran, but maybe they did like a sort of like a draft, like a base. Did they have it like set up like a baseball draft? I remember it wasn't like a conventional league, and there was certainly like an AM and a pro division in WAC. And I remember CKC won the AM clanner final, like, so we beat all the amateur clans and won that to get promoted into pro. And then there was like a special like playoff between like the pro and the AM, and I think we may have won that, or we beat, or not. I don't know if we won or something, but we got into pro, and it just kind of grew from there. And then I got better at Worms, obviously, which helped attract more players. And yeah, so Easter 2000.
This was Wackle, right? WA Worms Armageddon Clan League, like the first league, basically.
Yeah, where Colon tried to like do that whole WormsCon thing, and was he like, what's going on there? But yeah, this is all Wackle, and like so you got like Liberty, who's playing, and Gangster from Australia for EIF. I can't remember what their clan standard for, but you had like
Elite
T as well.
Immortal Forces.
Yeah, that's right. And then you had like T's, you had like Hamster, and some other great players, but there was still like Worms in Black existed around then, like the Walrus probably was playing, and MBR and stuff.
Do you know why I know that? Elite Immortal Forces is because Elderworm is the one who taught me how to fire bazookas in B&G, and that's when I took a little bit of an interest. But then it wasn't until a few years later when I met Mental at his house, and he taught me how to count out shots and stuff. That's when it became really fun to me. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. You can actually aim exactly where you want to aim.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
then KRD basically gave me a row for that. He said, "Bad Como, bad," and then the rest is
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, I think like WWW were playing then, like I said, Sarge McCluck and like clans like that and stuff. But WLC was WACL, so it was really active at the time, and it was amazing. Yeah, it was a great time. And funny fact about CKC is like it's the only ever clan. I don't know if this. I don't want to ruin any questions, but it's the only clan that the clan tag didn't stand for the clan name. And the amount of times people were like, "Oh, what does CKC stand for?" It's like, well, no, it actually doesn't sound like stand for that. It's just like we played on the word chicken, and
It sounds chickeny. It's very
So I've actually just thought about, is CKC an actual abbreviation of just chicken?
kind of. So I think what happened was like when I was at school, like they had like a symbol for like the name of your tutor, and they basically just took like an abbreviation. It wasn't a true abbreviation, but they would take like the first letter, the middle letter, and the end letter to like create like a symbol. So then it should be like CN or something. But I was just like, oh, I don't know, CKC just looked good, and
It
does look good.
It rolls off the tongue nicer as well than what KRD just said. CKC is way better than TCC.
And I remember now, TCC was taken because there was the Cheese Clan.
The Cheese Clan.
I think there was because I wish it was on
know
like
that
Web Archive or something, and we could see all these old like clans that were on like WACL. But I swear there was a Cheese Clan as well.
You're making me hungry. I love my cheese. Like I could go for a cheese pizza right now, but I won't.
The Cheese Clan. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, CKC just looks better. I would have, if I thought it was something, I would have thought like it's the Chicken Killers Clan, but that would be antithetical.
On that note that Mablack just said, prays into the next question here. Didn't the CKC clan have its own deity that worms would pray to for luck?
Yeah. So being like a weird little kid when I was made the clan, like I made loads of like lore and fluff around it as well. So we had like our own website, and we had Scully, which was the skull from. I've got a story about Scully, by the way. We have we've had Scully, which is the skull from Tribal Terrain, which is an amazing piece of like graphic design, if you ask me. And then we also had like these other worms on the old website. Like I used a photo or a picture of the El Diablo Polo or whatever it was, like the devil chicken in Monkey Island 3, I think.
Okay.
So I took
you had multiple gods.
There was multiple gods. Yeah, there's like big chicken face and all these like multiple gods, but like Scully was the best one, and like was it Killer Conjin? I can't pronounce his name. And he was from Belgium, and he was in CKC for years, and he made all the Flash movies of like the Worm Awards. Anyone remember him? I can't pronounce it.
I think like, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember the full name.
Yeah, so he was like his nickname was KK, and he made all the Flash. Yeah, I think I got it right.
Killer Conjin.
Yeah, and he was from Belgium. He was great default player.
Dodge Freak. He was a good roper. I used to play. Dodge Freak was actually in my first clan that I ever created, which was BDD. Yeah. What was it? Bringer. Because I was such a fan of Harvesters of Sorrow. I loved that name. I tried to make a name similar, so it was Bringers of Death and Destruction was the name that we came up with, and Dodge Freak was in that clan.
Yeah, Dodge Freak joined. Dodge Freak was in CKC for years and stuff. But Killer Conjin, he was really obsessed with Scully as well, and I think he like got into all those kind of like I'd call them like meme wars with some of like the like Czech lizard and like all these like wormers on like forums, and there was like a guy in America, and I don't know if they ever like hacked each other and were putting like images of like different worms and memes and like all your base belongs to us and all this kind of stuff. But there was loads of like that weird like internet meme thing going on with like Scully in there. And Yeah, I also this is really weird, like really lame, and like I've got a story which is it's breaking the law a bit here. So hopefully no one in authorities sees this, but the Scully graphic design, um, me and my friend of mine when I was like about 20 or 18 or something, basically he got into like graffiti art, like stenciling and getting spray paint and going out and stuff. So he made me a stencil of the Scully, and I went around my hometown and spray painted Scully all over like road signs and like all over like under bridges and all over places. And like so in this town in the UK,
Oh, that's a big
you'll
time criminal there. That's
well,
America's most wanted list right
I know,
there.
I know, but like
Officer,
so there's all this like worms related. There's a Scully graph. I
You're
think it's.
gonna have the
I
you're
still see it
dude, that's
sometimes, and I
like
point out, and I
you're
was like,
gonna
I did
have
that.
you're gonna have the WAPD at you any minute now, busting
Yeah.
through your door.
honestly, that is completely based, and yeah, I think that is probably the best worms related crime that we have we've I've heard about.
Representing.
Banksy is
Yeah,
blushing. He would love to do something like that, but he
yeah,
doesn't have the
definitely.
balls.
Yeah. So there's so if anyone's like, I wonder if there's any wormers that have like gone to that area and just been like, oh my God, I recognize that. It's the skull from tribal terrain
Oh
on
my god.
Worms Armageddon.
Is it like pretty identifiable? Like could you look at it
Yeah.
and be like, that's the skull?
Yeah, yeah. I'll try and find a photo of it and share it in
Dude,
the
yeah.
Discord sometime.
That'd be
Oh
great.
yeah, you've got to do that.
Yeah.
Oh my
So my
god.
black.
At least you didn't write like Chicken23 was
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I wasn't that stupid.
Yeah.
Well, what were they gonna do? But yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
I wonder if they ever realised where that image came from. They probably
I don't,
don't.
no, I don't think many people would know, but yeah. I did it in a few places.
I would notice. I would be like, oh
Do you know
wow,
what's
it's a
funny?
fellow wormer.
You know what's funny? I've actually got a cousin in the police force. But don't worry, your secret's safe with me. What happens in Worms Armageddon
watching right
stays in
now.
Worms Armageddon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Criminal damage from like 20 years ago.
Right,
So,
Ma Black, you're up.
Okay. Moving on. What was the experience like? Just in the early days, like in the early Worms League, like WACL and CL2K. It's a general question.
yeah, it was great. It was double or nothing meant that people
Yep.
could go on like ridiculous like streaks of like, and there was a cap, it wasn't infinity ladder, so it was a maximum amount of games.
50.
So 50, yeah. So if you were going to be more active and play way more than 50 games in a season, which was really easy to do, it was in your favor to play double or nothing, because if you went 1-1, those games didn't count.
Yeah.
But it meant that you got like some really like uneven like records in the ladder, but it also meant that like, and it felt more even between like ropers and ground scheme specialists, because
Yeah.
the
That's true.
playoffs just used to be rope, B&G, and elite or pro. I think there was free scheme playoffs in most of the leagues, even though like you could pick team 17 and stuff like that in like and fort and things. The playoffs just went to like those free schemes on a couple of them, I believe. um so like it was easy for me to do well because I could win a ground scheme and then lose a rope. But like
Yeah.
if I won both ground schemes, if I
And
played
then
another ground scheme
B&G.
specialist, yeah, yeah. Because I was obviously elite in B&G. That's kind of B&G first, and then I think I got into elite sort of second.
Yeah.
But like it was a great time. There was loads of amazing players. You had like guys that were playing in the ranks. So like MPH and Dope and all these guys that had like the elite rank or red flaming health bars and stuff like that. They carried on playing after in ranks disappeared and transferred over to Clan League 2K. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. MPH
Um,
and Dope definitely had those two players. I believe it was what, the OSW clan.
yeah, yeah. I think Tombstone was in there, like a German guy.
Mm.
Tombstone as well was
Yeah,
pretty
they were
good.
definitely like the sort of the top league players for like
Yeah,
around around the years like I don't know 2001 maybe
Yeah.
2002, and like yeah, people were trying to catch up to them. But as you said though, we had the whole double or nothing thing,
Mm.
and like those players, they were a bit weak in certain schemes, but they were good at
Yeah.
like elites. They were good at like
Yeah.
they were like pretty good at most
I,
things.
I think like actually I don't know. I was about to say I think like the level of competition back then was like amazing, but like actually I think today as wormers we're all much better at worms. Maybe in like the golden era, like 7 years ago, 5 years ago, it was probably a
Yeah,
bit or whenever. Like when we're talking about like DT and CKC or stuff like that. That
yeah. I mean, we're
US era,
better now for
yeah,
sure.
we're better now. We're better now at worms, but like there was still really good competition and stuff, but I think it was a shame that the double or nothing existed and they should have just moved to an infinity ladder sooner, because you just had people, the records weren't accurate, were they? I remember like
Not
Nah.
really.
There
Dexter
were
and
too
Cool
many.
Cleo.
There were too
Yeah.
many clans that went 50-0 because they would have so
Yeah.
many 1-1s, and yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was a point-based limited double. It was the wrong league system for sure, but it was still fun. Still a lot of good players and stuff.
That's why it's banned on TUS,
Yeah.
for that
Yeah.
specific purpose
Yeah.
I wonder if
or
like
reason.
any other games have anything like that, because like most games don't have multiple different schemes, but in Worms it's like you can get really good at certain schemes and be not so good at other ones, which is sort of the reason that the whole double or nothing system came about. Which if it hasn't been properly explained, it's like you would if you lost a game, you could say like, hey, double or nothing, and then like if you play another game, then the games are canceled out, but if the other person wins, then they get two. So it's like a guaranteed you either get 2 wins or 0 wins.
Yeah.
And it's it seems like a silly thing that no other game would ever have like such a weird system. Although at this point everything's like kind of ranked and online for most games. So
I remember
you
as well, like some people would do like if you were tied at 1-1, someone would do like let's do agree to like a third winner takes all. So like
triple or nothing. Yeah.
yeah, basically like you went 2-1 but you report 2-0 or something like that. So like it sucked even more to lose that decider because you knew you were going to lose 0-2 instead of 1-2 and stuff like
Yeah.
yeah.
Really weird that we came up with that.
But like
but
I
it's
think
like yeah.
sorry. I was going to say, like, as well, I think my experience was I've always been more like a clanner league player
Mhm.
rather than singles. I would do some singles, and I remember being like, there was Division 1 and Division 2. And I remember like maybe qualifying to get into Division 1, but then like I think the FB came along at some point and it all kind of like fell apart and stuff. But I certainly played more clan games than I did single leagues, like, and I think because of not being like more of a ground scheme specialist as well, when things moved to more like infinite ladder and stuff, like
Which,
I struggled a bit.
out of memory, which league was it? It was Wackle or CL2K or maybe both. They actually used to have referees that had to join and watch matches just to verify that people weren't like cheating and stuff like that. Can you remember that?
I think it was Wackle. I remember there was a
Yeah.
list of like referees. I think I was a referee at one point. I can't even
Yeah.
remember what I had to do. Yeah, I think it was Wackle. I don't even remember them like really
Yeah,
doing much, to be
Worms
honest.
Armageddon Clan League.
It was not present in CL2K, so it must have been Wackle.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Worms refs it's never a bad idea.
because
It can only improve things.
because I guess we didn't have replays back then. So like,
Right.
how do you know that the games were real that were being reported?
Right. I think there could have I mean like there could have easily been people who like just created extra players and like played against them and just like no one would have known, right? In fact, I think although like this wasn't the league, this was like even before that in the ranked, like I think that's part of there was some cheating involved like with that using that method. Like people would like play non-existent players.
Yeah. And speaking of cheating, like CKC got robbed of one of its clan elite playoff finals because
Really?
Mr. Raja on elite, EIF, he was using the Silkworm auto aim BNG.
Aimbot.
But
Oh,
yeah, and
no
like
way.
I remember like people like accusing me of using it. I was like, no, I'm just good at BNG. But he
Was it
was
very
like,
obvious that this
yeah,
guy was
he I
using it?
think it came out that he cheated, and it was Mr. Raja who played for them, but like the game still got played, and they still got their clan league title, and CKC got robbed because we lost that final to them.
Well, you know what?
I
We are
feel,
revoking. We're changing that right
yeah,
now.
I feel your
We're
pain.
going to the past, yoinking that
Yeah.
away.
The amount of times I've been accused cheating of BNG is ridiculous. I've even been accused of using macros to tap in Worms Armageddon roping schemes as well. It's like anybody
Nah.
that's good at anything just gets accused of cheating because other people are like, I can't do that, so surely nobody else can.
But I can't remember
Yeah.
how they found out that he cheated. Maybe like KRD would probably know more because, and I know what Dead Code created Silkworm, right? And then they must have done something to like discover the cheaters or something. But Mr. Raja
Uh,
was definitely one of them.
Yeah. Well, let's see. There was some. Well, yeah, it was like Silkworm was the initial thing that had an auto aimbot, and then like a newer version of that had like an there was an anti Silkworm that like disabled the aimbot.
Mm.
If someone else had it, I can't remember. Um, yeah, but at some point, Silkworm became defunct, so it no longer works. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I
Dead
don't know.
Code's
I haven't
anti-sulk.
seen anybody. I mean, interestingly, like I haven't seen anyone like clearly using an aimbot like pretty much ever. There was maybe like one time where I witnessed that in like my whole warmer career, but I think that person might have been like Cyber Shadow or somebody alien, like just messing about. I can't remember. It was like
I think,
it's in a
yeah, I
walk for
think
weapons or something, and I was like, wait, how is this person doing this? But I think it was like it was I don't know,
I can't
it
remember
was
if he
somebody
like
legit.
hit every turn or he was like clever about it and was like sometimes just like, oh, I'll just like teleport and like
Right? Yeah, it's like you could.
I'll aim, I'll like miss a few shots on purpose, but like it definitely. I
Yeah,
remember it being on the forums that like or somewhere that he had used it and stuff, which
yeah,
sucked.
that sucks.
Yeah.
So,
um,
moving on to the next question then. So, this is quite a long one. In the early years of Worms Armageddon, people were all about roping, especially warmers. Was this annoying because you were more of a default ground scheme player? And do you like how this has changed now because it's sort of 180'd and default schemes, ground schemes seem to be way more popular than roping schemes now?
I don't know. I don't know if it was annoying. Like, I just didn't have a passion for ninja roping like everyone else. And there was still like a decent size of the community that were into BNG, like yourself, Kamito or Komodo. And there was still a lot of people into Elite and Team 17 and default schemes. So like it was never like annoying, and I used to like join loads of warmers, and like I didn't mind. Like warmer was fun because it wasn't like it's competitive. It wasn't gonna get put into a league. But I
right.
just never had the passion to play ropers and like learn it. It's like I got better at roper, and TT or like rope race was like the last rope scheme for me to kind of get okay at. Like I still like recently or like 5 6 years ago, like I was definitely starting to go up the learning curve of like doing better at roping. But like I think I can be quite a solid league roper. I'm slow, but I would rope like I'll be back and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
hide on top when I've got a lead. I play it to win it. I'm not playing it for style.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of
Right,
like no
right.
nonsense. But I never like enjoyed it like everyone else. I enjoyed like Elite and BNG, and I wanted to get better at those schemes. And like I think at one point, this is pre Mad Black before he came in and dominated the world in Worms. Like I was considered a really top elite player, and I think it was like I'd say my biggest rival was a German guy called Shark, who changed his name to I can't pronounce it, but Nakra.
Nakra.
Nakra, yeah, he changed his name. Um, like I think me and him were like this is probably around Fan League 2K kind of time, maybe pre One Foot Party, but like yeah, it wasn't a problem. It didn't bother me. I liked warmers. I had friends that were like, obviously we'd like play warmers together, and it was fine. I just didn't like roping for a league scheme, and kind of avoided it unless people picked it. And like I learnt to rope through playing it in leagues. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, I think roping is it's kind of a strange thing because like someone comes to Worms because they enjoy like cartoony explosions and
Yeah.
like, maybe the strategy aspect, maybe like BNG is kind of a natural Worm scheme, but it's kind of a weird thing to get into it for roping. Uh so it seems it's almost strange that in those early days there were so many ropers and warmers and people who played it just for that because it's I mean I love roping and I love the ninja rope and obviously tons and tons of people do, but it doesn't seem like that is the quintessential part of Worms at all.
Mm.
uh and yet somehow it was for a while. So
Yeah.
I don't know how that came about, but I mean I think it's just because Ninja Rope is so much fun. It's just like it's strange that we
It was cool
discovered that
though.
as a community, you know?
Yeah, and it was really cool because it was like skateboarding. There was all these tricks
Yeah.
like learn how to shadow, learn how to spike, do a mexi, and there was all the little GIF videos, and you could go on a website and see them, and then you were like trying them in warmers, and it was like it's like a digital way of like learning to skateboard, in a way with like your fingers and hand-eye coordination and stuff. Um,
Warmer, I mean, for me,
Exactly.
Warmer took over my life. I remember because I was really young, and that's back in the day where we had dial up. What is it, 26.8K or something like that? Dial up really slow, and it's when your computer made that horrible sort of weird noise when you connect to the internet. And I remember staying up at night, very late at night on school nights, with a duvet over my computer to block the sound a little bit so that I could rope with like the Feudal, the Walrus, and some of the other American players.
yeah, and I think like I used to rope with American guys and join warmers and stuff, but they just knew me as the default guy that was shit at roping.
Well, back then, the
That's
majority of
yeah,
the
it's kind of
best
bullshit.
ropers, well, in those days, the majority of the best ropers were American
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
But then
Canadian.
like, but we would see each other. Like, who was the Mexican guy from T5X? Valcom, I
Cool.
think.
Or
Volcom,
Vorcom.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Was
and
Cool
cool.
not
Yeah,
Mexican as well?
yeah, cool and Valcom, and like those
Yeah.
guys, they're all really solid ropers. But then like I was facing them in like All-Star Cups where they had to like pro and B and G and stuff like that, and so like I was having to rope, but like I guess yeah, just ropers were like just not as fun as the strategy,
Two.
like you said. Like there's more weapon. That's why I love Team
Yeah.
17 because you get every weapon in the game except Kamikaze. But
Well,
like Elite, you still get a lot of good weapons and you get to kind of have the main core Worms experience. And
Yeah.
maybe because of like growing up playing Worms and Funners and never really being like, oh, going on like obviously I went on Wormnet and I saw roping and was like, okay, that's cool. But like maybe because of the ranks, like I played loads of ranks to try and get elite and that like got me into default schemes because Worms League Pro is a really good scheme, with the freeze and a default scheme with invisible is brilliant and it's not chaos. Someone that why aren't
Right.
we playing that? Worms League Pro is such a good scheme.
Worms. It is interesting. So that was a scheme in the original was it in Wackle?
It was in the
The clan
ranks.
league?
It was to get
It was in the
you.
ranks.
Yeah, it was in the ranks, but people would then play pro. People were picking pro, and like elite existed because that was elite league in the ranks to get the red flaming health bar. But like it was elite slash pro. If it was playoff, it could be elite or pro. And most people could like switch between the two. But the pro scheme was great. It was 30 seconds. The mines were 3 second rather than instant. You had one freeze, one select worm, one invisible, and
Yeah, I
like
do think like having played Chaos so much lately, like I think Invisible is very strategic.
yeah.
It's something that it's surprising it hasn't made its way into like any of the mainstream like league schemes. But like yeah, there was that initial scheme of pro that people just kind of stopped playing like very early on.
Mm.
And yeah, we didn't have a scheme with like freeze or invis for a
Yeah.
while. Like after that, that's
So,
strange.
Corey Dex is asking Chicken, do you remember if Pro was played best of 1 or best of 3?
It was just best of one. It was just best of one. It was either, I think you could teleport your worms in. I don't think it was random. I think worms AM was like random placements and a bit more like intermediate and 45 seconds and stuff. But then, and then, well, I can't remember. Like, I'm pretty sure Dead Code could probably find the original scheme file. Like, I've got one on my computer, but I don't think it's correct. But like, it had a lot of strategy with the invisible, and like there was the some pro like MPH or someone told me like if you held like a home button, it would centralize the worm, so that you got an idea of where the enemy worm was.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
yeah,
I
so
remember
they,
using that myself, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it works.
yeah.
Also, oh, another tip: if anyone's playing like Chaos or something with Invisible, if you make the chat as big as it can get, and then just have the chat down, then you'll just have a fairly small window, and the invisible worm will be like in that area. So it gives you a
Oh,
little slightly better odds of
you,
figuring out where the worm is.
so
Ah.
you make your chat really big, and then there's a
Yeah,
smaller display of the game. So it's like, okay, you've narrowed the gap where they could be.
right. I guess if you used like an incredibly small resolution too, that would help, but it would cost you like you wouldn't be able to see like
Yeah.
the screen.
Well, now this is where we're getting on the conversation of like, if we can zoom in worms, that's going to change the gameplay because you could just zoom in and hit home and know where an invisible worm is straight away, in theory.
That is, yeah, that is. I think that might be one of like the. That's one of the only things I can think of that it would change like somewhat significantly. But maybe there would be an option to like disable zoom or something
Mm,
for like a
mm,
scheme like that. That would be kind of
yeah.
strange, I guess. But or maybe we have an option where it's like you just disable like you can't play that scheme with the vectorized worms. You have to go back to the old school. Because I think there will be an option where you can pick between the smooth vectorized worms and just the regular gameplay once zooming in is a thing.
So what we're going to do in about 13 minutes time for the last hour is we're going to watch Chicken and Mablak play some games against each other.
Oh,
Team
right.
17 obviously, but hopefully also an elite. So yeah. Next question, Mablak.
All right. Did you have experience in any strategy games before Worms, or did Worms kind of bring it out in you?
When I was younger, I used to play chess,
Oh,
and
cool.
I've always felt like Elite was like chess, but never like I'm not playing like professional chess online or anything like that. But I guess I've always had like a strategic brain. Like it's definitely like my strongest suit. Like, I know we've discussed on some of Kamito's podcasts about like tiering like wormers, in their skills of like creativity and mechanical skills and stuff like that. Like I'm probably like one of the best default players to have the worst mechanical skills, I would say. like
Hmm.
if we're all like top trump cards and everyone's got a rating, like my strategy's high, but like I might not be the most mechanical player. I think that's
Yeah.
how I've like got past like beating Dead Code in some of the recent playoffs and stuff.
Yeah,
But
because
for other teams.
look at it like I remember for me it's like a racing game. You've got the handling, you've got the speed, you've got the other things, and it's like yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like if ever like like Mad Black, Deadco, like and oh, Dario. You guys are like so good at mechanical. You know the pixel perfect game inside out, and you're really creative and strategy, which makes you good. But like you know, I certainly feel like strategy is my strength, and I'm up there on strategy with like some of the best players in the game. But it's like this my mechanical skill set that maybe lets me down if I wanted to really take it to the next level of competitive gaming.
That is something that we've witnessed live on stream during playoffs. Is you've had many chances to win games where you haven't because you've been too hesitant to take the risk, to take the chance, due to said mechanical skills.
Yeah, but there's even like I got really tilted like in last year's CWT when I played like Solano, I think it was. Like I was doing really well and I had low gravity on and I just hit enter thinking I had a safe jump and literally the worm just flew and went into a tiny little shotgun plot hole that had been created earlier. And then I
Uh,
just lost like 100 HP and like the whole
uh,
and I was like on top of like worm order, like having the the lead in the worm count and resources and everything, and it just turned the game on its head. And I was just like, wow, I've just like been playing like so hard for like 20 minutes or 15 minutes trying to like play really top tier, like really well, and then like one enter with low gravity misjudgment, and it's just like, oh, the whole game's completely like, and that tilted me so
uh,
much. And then
So,
like,
that's
yeah,
how it goes. It's yeah.
sorry, on you go, my black.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just like the on the one hand, like the mechanical stuff is it's kind of nice because that does mean that Worms is not the same as like chess. You aren't playing it 100%,
Strategic,
mentally.
yeah.
But then when things start to screw up, it's like not as much fun. Like when you
yeah,
just want to
So,
play a purely strategic scheme, you're like, let's avoid all this roping bullshit.
yeah.
so in
Things
Maybe
the
like
that's why I avoided the roping.
in the chat, KRD's asking Chicken, which would you say is harder to learn, strategy or mechanics, and or do you think it depends on the person?
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah,
I think I have a biased opinion on that question, and I would say probably mechanics because maybe strategy is like just natural to me, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Like KRD's seen me like come back to Worms after like months off and just like okay, I'm still playing good, but that's because of the strategy. Like, but then there's other times like I've looked back on old replays and old elites, just being like, what the hell was I doing? Like I miscalculated the worm order and just did all this crazy stuff that was like really poor strategic thinking. But
Yeah.
I think game mechanics maybe because yeah, it depends on the person. But my biased answer, because I'm strategic and I struggle with game mechanics, is mechanics because there's so much to it. Like I think what Dario did with some of those training videos, and stuff, really like no one was doing any of the
So,
game mechanics stuff like years ago, and you really see how complicated and pixel perfect the game is, and
so
that's
yeah,
great. It's just an amazing learning curve.
KRD made a really good point there that I partly agree with is mechanics need more warming up because if you think about it, you wake up and your day starts, you're already thinking. You're probably thinking about your job. You're probably thinking about all the problems in your life. And all of us are sort of problem solvers all day, every day from the moment you wake up. And you're not actually sitting there doing mechanical skills because when you're playing a game mechanically, you need to warm up sometimes quite a lot so that your muscle memory is, well, warmed up. It's as close to being as accurate as possible.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is I know, sorry, going slightly off topic, but like, it's competitive Worms stream and stuff. So like I've enjoyed playing Worms competitively. And one thing I've noticed is if I'm in a good mood and life is good and I'm relaxed and everything's going well, I'll play like some of my best Worms.
Yeah.
But if I'm in a bad mood and I'm stressed or like, I've got to sort out all this stuff with a house and
oh
family,
yeah,
Yeah, because you can't think straight.
I play
yeah,
badly, and it's
Yeah.
so
yeah.
like I only try to play competitively when I'm in a good mood to be like I'm an emotional player and like and yeah, I will play well when I'm in a good mood, I suppose.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Right.
Also, like, I think it's always good. Like, you generally also play better if you like dedicate some time to warming up. At
Mm,
least, like, I've noticed that with myself because, like, I used to be like, you know what, I should just play constantly and warming up doesn't matter. But
yeah,
I think now it's like if I want to play good, I need to like the day before at least play a little bit. Um,
yeah, for
at
sure.
least if it's an important match.
I
But
I I warmed up a little. I don't often warm up, but like I
yeah,
remember like if I would just like sometimes always look for a league game. Like I don't play funners. I need something on the line. So it's very rare I'll play like a funner. Like
yeah,
especially in the last few years I've got limited
yeah.
time, so I wanna play a league game. I like I'm 17 and stuff, so I'll play that. I was going to say now, but like I won't warm up for it. Like I just need that pressure to play sometimes. But that's what I was gonna say. But
Yeah,
if I'd like lost a bunch of games and I'm in a bad mood because I've lost focus and lost some games, it's harder for me
it's a spiral.
to go and win some after losing. And I certainly see like some players that will just like play like 10 games, 10 TUS games in a row. I couldn't do that. Like I will play my set of games, maybe 4 or 5, and then I'm done, and then I'll put the game down. I think it's important to know when to put the game
Yeah,
down and
you gotta know
refresh.
when to quit. It's
Yeah,
addictive.
yeah. Like,
Don't
but
give
if
in to
you
the
if,
addiction.
but like if you want to have that like amazing record, and I think like CF, they were really good at doing this. Cold Fusion, the German clan, they would only play like a handful of clanners, and they would that's it. They're done for
They
clanning for
were
that night.
very. See, the
Yeah,
thing about Cold Fusion is they were like Random OO himself. It's not so much that they had. Well, they did have some of the best players that were in the world, but it was the way that they only ever played when they had a full squad available and they could cover everything, or they would only play when they knew they had an advantage over the clan. Like, do you know what I mean? They picked and chose when they played, and they were very careful, and that's fair enough. They
Yeah.
took the game very seriously. There's nothing wrong with that. You
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't want to play. I mean, you wouldn't want to tarnish a really good record by playing against a team you know that you're going to lose it because you don't have your best players on. You know?
yeah.
Yeah,
They took
there
it
were some
very
players.
seriously.
There were some players who took this a little too far at times.
And
Yeah.
became avoiders, didn't they?
I want to say the other clan, that did this was Six, a
Oh
very
yeah,
good
yeah,
clan.
definitely, yeah,
That had Flowing Water, aka Franz, and
yeah. Mystery.
Mir, a player that hasn't played in a long time. Mir, Mir.
Aye. Was Mystery
He was
not in
definitely.
that?
I'm not sure
I know
Maybe.
actually.
Mir was.
Spider was in there for a while as well.
Spider was in, yeah, some really good players. But yeah, Mir was one of those players. It's like he plays a few games, only plays when he like really feels good about it, and like you ask him for another game, he's like, nah.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember that, and their
I
clan was like that too. Like they would
I
play like when they were like warmed up, when they had people on.
I
No
have
other
to
time.
say that I am also like that sometimes. I go through streaks where it's like, right, I don't care whether we win or lose, we just want to play lots of clanners. And then I can be through a phase where I'm only going to play what I believe that I'm good at and we have a good chance of winning. Like, I swap from variation to variation. But, so next question, and then after this we'll get the game up. If Mablak, you can maybe host that now if you want and get that ready.
What are we playing? Team 17?
Yeah, Team
Have
17
you got the
first.
island? Have you got what scheme type have you got? You got the island 12 minutes.
I have
and...
neither at the moment.
Well, maybe,
Maybe,
let Chicken host then. Can Chicken host?
yeah.
Right.
I need to move, so I
Right.
don't know if you want to put a BWAC back on for like a minute or something before I move, or I could just walk my laptop to there. But I will have to like darken up my wires.
What I'll do, hold on, is I will. How do I? Right, I've disabled your video, so you can move now.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Can you still talk or?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll keep.
Right.
Well,
This is
I'll try to-
interesting. So who were some of your first Worms influences?
like I said earlier, Link, Max Damage, probably those two. I would say the most. They were like the nicest, like best wormers. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Link was a legend. Everybody, as KRD said earlier in the stream, Link gets mentioned on almost every stream about that he was an icon, he was an idol to many players, including myself.
Yeah, no, he and those guys, like I say, they really sort of took me under their wing, and like I remember being like, they just sort of showed me like all the schemes, even though I was a complete noob, and like I think I'd only like faced them by playing the the official Worms ladder or rankings, and then they were like, oh, by the way, there's like clans and
And
warmers and roper and all this other stuff, and I was like, oh wow, that's so cool, you know.
another reason for me liking Link so much is Zelda was one of my favorite games of all time as well. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I never like I vaguely remember Link, but I think I only played him like a very very tiny bit. Um, but yeah, I remember everyone speaking like highly about him.
yeah,
A
very
lot of
very
people in
very good player. And
yeah yeah
that's what I wanted to say earlier when we were talking about when he mentioned T5X Volcom. I still think to this day he was the greatest roper ever. And by that I mean the actual scheme roper, not the best roper overall. But
right.
I've never seen anybody make. At the time, even the other best players would screw up every now and again, but I never saw him make mistakes. Just ever. He was
He was
just
really good.
He was so confident.
I didn't play him until like I didn't play him in his heyday. I played like on CL2K. I don't think I ever played him. But then he came back later at a certain point, and
Yeah.
I don't know. He wasn't. I don't think he was as
Yeah.
when he came back. I'm not sure if he was even like quite as good because it was kind of a brief time that he
Yeah.
came back, like maybe the First Blood era. But yeah, I think I missed out playing him.
Yeah, he was so good so early is a really impressive thing to him. And he played on difficult maps. It wasn't just the noob maps. He also
That was before.
Yeah.
That was before my maps became
Yeah.
the norm, right?
Your maps in a like sorry my black, but your maps in a way ruined Roper.
I hate my maps. I don't like them at all.
It just makes it impossible to collect so many crates in attack that's what made Roper luck based. But fortunately, the good thing about your maps is they're very good to take them and edit them so that they're
Well, yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty easy to do that, right? Yeah.
Like, I made a lot of my map pack from taking your maps and basically making them not so complex.
They're easy to improve on. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that because most of them are made in like 2 minutes. So,
Yeah.
like, you can literally just make those things. Like, those are all like in-game editor things.
Yeah.
But I don't think, yeah, it's like I made them at the time, mostly out of convenience, and there were probably hundreds of maps of that style that I made
Yeah.
and I didn't save, but like they were never meant to be like a staple of ropers. I think you could easily improve on these.
For me, the most famous map pack of all time for the Scheme Roper has got to be Fabrous or however you pronounce his name.
Those were a little bit similar.
Yeah.
In that they were like a bit more wiry and thin than mine.
Yeah. His maps are like, I always hear people saying they love his maps.
Yeah, I mean they were fun. I think it was probably because of those maps that I made like my maps the way I did too.
Yeah.
But
are you still with us, Chicken?
I'm still here. I just need to get my beer from the other room and a paper and a pen.
Right. Okay.
So I'm in my location where I usually play from.
Right.
I just need to quickly grab my drink and
just let me know when you want me to reveal the camera again.
Yeah. Okay. One sec.
I'm just gonna be playing with the camera in front of my monitor, so I'm gonna be like.
Yeah.
Just in the center of my screen.
I'm just enjoying my picture. No beer left behind. Yeah, Team 17 first, and I think it's going to be Island Team 17. So with that being said...
Alright, place your bets in chat. Will one of us get an Armageddon? And end the game quickly.
Okay, I'm ready.
Right, let me...
Yeah. Hopefully the camera's not too... I got a light above my head, so it might make me look a little bit angelic. Or is it okay?
You look fine to me, I think, if I can get rid of that thing. Yeah, you look fine. Right,
Cool.
if you want to go ahead and host.
Oh my god. Now I hope this doesn't cause issues with the Discord, so let's give it a go.
Yeah, you do seem to be lagging a little bit there. That's fine.
I'm still
Turn
here.
off my air conditioning. One sec.
Let me know when you've hosted.
I've hosted.
Right. Chicken versus goat.
Too kind.
Yeah, you've taken Worms to another level though, Matt Black, across all schemes and variations of speed runs and stuff. Like I
Well,
think
thanks.
there was a few things like I wanted to kind of like talk about as well. Like I thought would be interesting. I don't know
Yeah.
if this is like in your list of questions or whatever, but like
Yeah,
just
go for
something
it.
I discussed when I met Dario, and because he was like he's like been studying towards his PhD, which I
Mhm.
think he like mentioned he's in Paris and everything, and
Yeah.
like we were talking about like how everyone we all love Worms. It's this crazy game that we're all sort of like addicted to and we love playing. Like not
Yeah.
just us, but like most people in the community. And I was kind of like saying, oh, you come back to Worms. Like you gotta play Worms. You're such a great intermediate player.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I will, but I need to finish. I need to finish this PhD. It's something I want to do for studying and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, do that. Like you can't like it was like we had a kind of he was like, wow, it was a bit like an epiphany for him. It's like you if you play too much Worms, you kind of sometimes like I was like feeling guilty because I wasn't dedicating time to like other stuff that I wanted to do with life. We had this really
Right.
philosophical conversation and it was like but I was like, but now I've done those things with life, I've made
Now you
my
can come back to Worms. Yeah.
exactly, and I was like, I could play Worms like guilt free, and it's fine, and I really enjoy it, and it's not like, oh my god, I wasted like 3 hours playing some Worms, and I need to do this in the house or like all this. I was like, no, like I'm in a place of
It's
happiness.
fulfilling. Yeah.
Exactly, like what?
Worms actually fulfills. Yeah. I mean, when I play Worms, I feel like I'm accomplishing something most of the time.
Yeah,
Um, but I guess like if you play like a league game or something, you get a bit more of a feeling of accomplishment. So like I do play like probably like fewer like funners and stuff. Like I'll play when I want to do a speed run or when I play a clanner or something, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
because sorry, KRD. I remember they asked me if I wanted to come down and meet them, but there just wasn't enough notice, and it would cost something like £400 just
yeah.
to travel there and back, and that's without having money for beer or drink or anything or food or anything like that. The price was ridiculous, but yeah, unfortunately. But we were actually trying to organise Chicken, Dario, and Mental coming over to stay with me for a little bit, but that didn't quite happen. I'm going to visit Mental in October, and I'm going to be taking some of he has requested that I bring down some of my keyboards, including the Wooten keyboard, because he wants to see how good this keyboard really is. So yeah,
Oh, dude, yeah.
are you guys
Did I
ready to play?
mention
I
I'm
think
getting one of those too. I'm gonna
I
try
think
out a
I've got a
Wooten.
map. Just one sec. I'm just gonna quickly use the bathroom, and then
Oh,
I'm
go ahead.
gonna light up, and we'll be ready.
Not a problem. Yeah, you were saying, my Black?
DJ in our clan had an inter-clan competition. He said he was gonna give someone a keyboard, whoever
Yes.
gets the most clan points,
Yeah.
which apparently was me. So he like what I don't. He's just extremely generous. And
He sent you an
he like
ATHE.
yeah. It's which isn't coming out for like a month or so. So it'll get here in like I don't know October or November. But
You've got no idea like how it's so difficult for me to wait for this damn keyboard to come out. Because I paid.
It looked super interesting.
Did they buy you the normal version or the zinc alloy version? Because I spent the extra £100 to get the zinc alloy version.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think it's just probably just the regular one. But yeah, I mean, it seems really interesting. I probably don't have any use for like the double button press thing where you can press one button and it activates two things.
Yeah, dynamic keystroke. You will actually have use for that. There's a lot of use for that, but that's borderline. Well,
there's nothing I could do with that would not. It's like I think in any game where I would use that, it would be illegal. But although I guess the thing is in Worms WMD there is actually a glitch you can do where you can lay two mines in the same turn. And it happens if you press enter and then space right after each other. So technically, if I had that button, it would do that, but that would be the same as a macro, so I can't do that.
It's not a macro, though, because it's not one signal doing multiple actions. It's pressure. It depends on the amount of pressure you put on. Right, so chicken's ready. Let's get this show on the road. I'll make sure I do have the right... I know that I've got the right resolution for this, so that's okay.
Cool. This is going to be quite tough playing and talking, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, last time I did this, I was like...
Yes, sir.
Most likely there will be some mistakes, but that's okay. Okay, the positions are not terrible.
Wait. Why is it not letting me tab out the game? What the hell?
You're stuck in the game, you can't.
Yeah, it's not letting me tab out the game.
Well, you just gotta roll with it.
Can you say, can everyone see the game?
Well, not now because I've... something's happened to my computer. Hold on.
Oh, I think we can't see the game right now.
I saw it briefly on the stream and then it disappeared.
Something has happened to my PC.
I can rehost if we need to.
I can't even use my mouse or keyboard right now.
Okay. Well, let's see. Maybe
Crap.
Too much stuff going on.
Nah, no, really. It should be fine. My mouse and keyboard just don't want to cooperate right now. Let's see if my other mouse that I've got plugged in works.
I like Gregor's comment. Where's that crate? I'm not going to go all the way down there.
You can see it's not working.
I think this has happened to me before. Like, at least when my stuff was connected to like a USB hub, like the hub just stopped working and that fucked everything up.
Well, parts of the keyboard are working, but it just doesn't want to do certain commands. Can I... Right, so, alright, if I go to Task Manager... Right, I'm going to exit Worms Armageddon the game. If you could host again, maybe...
Okay.
Right, everything is working again after exiting that, so if you rehost...
I missed my mind, so it's okay.
Right.
I'll quit and rehost. That was possible, wasn't it? Mapback.
It could, I think so, and maybe the barrel could have come into play, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay.
That is actually really weird. I don't
game's
know.
open again.
All right.
Right, hold on.
So what's the next question?
What is your favourite scheme and why is it Team 17?
So you've answered the question in the question.
Yes, but why?
Why is it Team 17? Because I believe it is the best scheme in Worms because of the variation of... there's just so much that can happen. Like, it's a really great competitive scheme, but it brings so much variation to a game. Like, it feels like no 2 rounds are alike.
Okay.
And that there's just so many possibilities. And the fact that you then have potentially every weapon in the game of Worms featuring in a competitive scheme, except Kamikaze, but that's okay because, you know, you can just play Kamikaze if you want elite or intermediate. But like you have a competitive scheme where you have to like, oh my god, someone might donkey me, or like, and it's not just about the donkey and the Armageddon because they are quite a rarity, you know, but like you'd be
Yeah.
surprised how often an Armageddon doesn't win you the match.
Well, you have been known to say in the past that you compare Team 17 to poker. So explain to us why.
Because it's I think sometimes you mentioned about bluffing. It's not all about bluffing. It's about risk management. It's about like
Uh-huh.
I really need to like get top map control here, and I'm taking a gamble that my opponent hasn't picked up bat or dynamite or holy hand grenade. You know, there's 3 weapons that if I teleport into this hide that could kill me, and
Yeah.
then you're like, I count crates. So you could make an analogy to maybe like counting cards. I'm trying to like count crates and like how many weapons has my opponent used? Okay, so now, you know, there's all these weapons. What are the odds? And this is the chance, the statistics that he picked up that crate, and then making a risk assessment to decide to risk teleporting into that hide that could completely change the game for me in terms of like position and whatnot. But then sometimes they do have the bat, they do have the Armageddon, and you have to play around it and you have to respond to that. You've made the optimal play, but the RNG was against you, and then you have to adjust on the spot how to combat that. And it's a bit like, you know, sometimes in poker, like people are, yes, they're bluffing, but like someone might hit the ace on the river, and it happens. I guess it's like that. It's like the randomness and the odds is kind of why I make the analogy of it being like poker, perhaps.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's. I mean, there's so many weapons you can get. It's almost impossible to like fully prepare for everything. I guess I would still be on the side of like taking out something like Donkey, but I get that there's, you know,
I have to admit that,
it's like you don't get to use it in any other scheme, and also it's not like you get it every time, right? I mean,
yeah,
I get the upsides to the argument,
I think
and it's
I've
also
seen,
kind of you do have to watch out for it, so it's another thing to think about.
yeah, and like I think you've been really unlucky. Like you haven't played this scheme that often, but every time
Oh
I've
yeah,
seen you play it in like two
yeah.
US Cups, you've been the victim of a donkey.
Oh,
I have.
the infamous cup hosted by Psychotropic and KRD, I think,
Yes.
where Mablack and Dario teamed up, and everybody was thinking, oh, they're going to be the strongest team by far. And then in their first game, I think it was the first game, they got Armageddon and lost. Like, they got Armageddon as the first super crate that fell and they lost. Crazy.
Yeah, it was. So it happened like 2 matches in a row, I think. Armageddon. We got.
How
I believe we got
unlucky.
either
So you just need to play more Team
Armageddon or
17.
Donkey twice in a row.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You just need to play more Team 17 and realise that it's quite a rarity, I suppose. Oh,
Yeah.
it's nice. Like it's not, it is a rarity, but like there's sometimes you get donkeyed and you left like 2 worms piled. Like you have to like, excuse me, you have to play around the donkey sometimes.
Yeah, that was double elimination, KRD, yes. So, the next question, it's a bit of a big one. So, Chicken, you have a lot of achievements. Winning playoffs in TUS Team 17 League Seasons 5 and 7, and TUS Rotated League Season 30. Getting first in Team 17 standings for the main TUS League in Seasons 7, 13, 14 and 15, and first in B&G for Seasons 7, 24 and 42. Also winning the 2 versus 2 Island Team 17 Cup in 2021. So what is your personal favourite Worms achievement of all time?
Does it have to be like, I think
It
My
doesn't. It
best
doesn't
team-
have. It doesn't have to be one of those. It can be whatever you think it
Yeah,
is.
I think my favorite achievements is like the clan wins that CKC's had, like and playing in playoffs. And and I guess an achievement outside of like actual trophies is like the longevity of CKC. Like I'm super proud of that. Like, but in terms of, I think I don't know. I that list of stuff I can't remember. I remember the recent stuff since like a comeback since COVID, but I can't remember some of the older things. But I do remember winning and beating Almog in a Worms World Party singles league. Because I don't have many single leagues in like all round where you could pick rope and stuff like that, you know. So that was a pretty big win. But at the same time, I kind of feel that that's a bit tarnished because there was also like WA leagues happening. That
Yeah.
like there were still decent players taking part in the World Party League at the time.
Worms World Party had some of the best players from Worms Armageddon playing there though.
Yeah, that's where I started basically.
Yeah. Like I won awards for roping. This is one of the funny things is I had a lot of awards in Worms Armageddon and Worms World Party, but most people at some point in time, oh, he's the B&G guy. Nobody even knows that I used to rope. Like crazy. Chicken was in VP there, right?
Yeah, I founded VP. I remember like when Worms World Party came out. I
Does that-
I do not remember that.
I basically like created VP, which was like vengeful poultry, but it was like
I
a
was literally about to say, does that stand for very
Holy shit.
poultry?
yeah, but it was a
Vengeful
merged
poultry.
clan with a guy called Penzo, or Evo. I think
Penzo.
he
No,
changed-
I played Penzo. Penzo was one of the people I played with like a decent amount
yeah,
on Wormhole Party.
yeah, he was like one of my like favorite Worms World Party friends because like I came over, joined his clan. He had like a clan and stuff. I think I can't remember what it was called, and I was like, they were like, oh my god, this like B&G player from Worms Armageddon has like joined our clan, and we were like doing well in the clan leagues, and then eventually he just kind of like it kind of evolved, and it like I don't think I took it over, but like maybe some people left, and I was like, well, why don't we create like a Worms World Party clan, Ventral Poultry? And Penzo was like, sure, yeah, and it just like so we played a lot together, and he liked B&G and stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, CKC has a lot of achievements as well,
Nice.
like winning the TUS Classic League playoffs in season 7, 14, and 21. Is CKC the best clan in your eyes, or among the best?
Yes.
Okay, it's fair.
I think an interesting thing about CKC is it's gone through like different eras of Worms in the sense of sometimes playing to be a competitive Worms clan and sometimes being a cool fun place for people to like associate themselves with. And it's gone, I think, like I have tried to like at moments in its history it's been super competitive, and I've like booted players that may have like lost too much and stuff like that, but other times we've had like
Oh wow.
Y2 JID that was pretty crap at league games, but like he was still a friend and like he stayed in the clan and stuff. So it's like it's I think for me like it's always been about like attitude has been the most important factor. Like I don't like someone in my clan who has a poor attitude and is like, a troll, an internet troll or a forum troll and stuff like that, They have to be a nice person. I don't want anyone who's like saying offensive stuff in a worm neck, 'cause I don't like that at all. But I think we're up there with winning, like going back to your answer, we've won a lot of league titles. We're not DT, but like we've been going around a while and we've won a lot of leagues. So, up there as one of the greats. But you guys can make your own decision, I think, on what you think is the best clan in Worms.
I agree, and one reason I agree is because I was in CKC for a little while, so that
Me as well.
that alone improves its overall standing. But no, there's like honestly, there's not a single player in CKC that I can think of that's like not amazing. Like you Albino's another like player who's always been super amazing. Like I think he's played like maybe as long as you. I forget.
Yeah,
Maybe not
Albino,
quite as long.
Albino or Albino, he's like my favorite clan partner for defaults for sure. Like we've
Yeah.
played together now for years, certainly the last 15
You
years.
guys are very deadly at like Team 17 and Elite.
Totally.
Yeah, like we've done a lot of elite playoffs, like clutch matches and stuff, you know. And there was like, you know, and same with Crash as well when he was in playing with Albino, and they had that history before and stuff. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
along the same lines here, which clans do you remember having the most fun playing against?
That's a really good question because there's two ways of judging fun, isn't there? I certainly know the clans that I've had like the most competitive, stressful games, which in some sense is really super fun. But then there's other clans that have just been like really sporting, you know, and are like really nice, decent people to play and stuff. So like fun in terms of like high competition. Definitely like DT and you know TD. Well, TDC is a great clan as well, especially more recently. So
Another old school clan that has been amazing like its whole run.
yeah. So I'm just gonna try and plop you with a holy hand grenade by throwing it this way.
Oh, let's see. I think it's
God.
not gonna work if it lands to my left, but
There we go.
There you go, perfect.
Well done.
Good shot.
Well done.
Good shot.
I thought it would land a little differently.
So yeah, so there's been like some great clans over the years. Like even like some clans that weren't really like competitive have had like brilliant fun games with them because those players were really nice, fun people to play with. Like I think in the TUS era, it was certainly a lot more competitive. But if you go back to like, you know, Wackle and Clan League 2K and stuff, like it wasn't super competitive and stuff. Like we weren't all like bitching about notching and like, you know, all this kind of stuff and like getting tilted when we were losing because we were all so competitive. Like, you know, I remember like some like real like fiery moments. Oh no!
Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
So yeah,
Only myself to blame on that one.
I don't know if that answers the question, but most recently TDC are really good guys, super sporting, super fun to play against. But like I think today everyone plays Worms a little bit differently, right? You know, like we're all older, like the leagues are like not in the best state, so we're just all a bit
We're kind of just
more
playing whatever
chilled.
like
Yeah,
we can warm up enough to play.
we're just happy to get a game now, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Just organizing games alone is a challenge. That's one reason I've enjoyed the Chaos League because everyone in it is like kind of available to play.
Yeah.
Unlucky there. Right, so here's one. Next month, and this might be something that some people are not familiar with. Next month, Worms Armageddon is getting re-released on consoles. If there happens to be ranked play, what scheme should they use, in your opinion?
Intermediate. If we're looking at this through the lens of like what is active now in Worms Armageddon, then probably intermediate is like the most like I think Team 17 have got to make it accessible for newcomers. It's all about like and I think we were talking about this earlier in Discord. Like it's all about trying to make something that is going to keep new players in the game. Like we're all seasoned pros and we know like crazy B&G schemes or like stuff that looks really like Roper and like Elite. It's too scary for people.
100%, yeah.
You know, so it needs to be
For
it needs,
the new players.
Yeah,
Team
it's gotta be
17 or intermediate because they're noob friendly but also got a really high skill ceiling.
Oh yeah. I think intermediate is the one scheme that what's like everyone kind of has to play it because it's the first scheme that you get when you open the game. So I mean, I think like most new players would be familiar with it. And what I'm guessing, my prediction is that Team 17 will have ranked for this console re-release, but it will be
See,
like it'll be intermediate with like 4 worms or something.
so I'm hoping that they will put your basic, intermediate, and maybe Team 17. But I'm also hoping they would maybe put like Rope Race in it as well. Because if they did that, I will
That would be
buy a
incredible.
console and plug in a
Honestly.
mouse and keyboard.
That would be insane. If they included Rope Race, I would praise their name. That would be kind of incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm not I'm not super. I mean, it would take a lot to do that. But I mean, they did have Rope Race as sort of a thing in like Worms Reloaded, so it's not like they don't know about it. It's not like they're
Well, they had.
totally opposed.
Well, the players had to make it themselves, but Rope Race was possible in Worms WMD.
Yeah. It's been possible in like all Worms games, and it's something people know about. I mean, I don't know. It's not impossible. It's just that I don't. For the re-release, I'm just guessing that Team 17 is not putting in like quite that level of effort. But
Yeah, I think it would be
I
a
don't know,
ground-based
we'll see.
game. Yeah.
We'll
Do you
see what
think
they
like it will have the same game? Like, how can it have the same game physics as Worms Armageddon but be on console? Like, how is that possible? I don't know.
How
this
are
stuff.
controller players gonna RR though? That'll be 95% of the players. Tough luck for them.
right.
They'll be shouting.
That's another thing. It's like people need to be taught how to rope race, and
Yeah,
unless they have a tutorial or something.
They'll have to change the Thespian sound bank to a keyboard, my kingdom for a keyboard.
Right. Exactly.
So, if there was one player you could bring back to the game, who would it be and why?
Oh.
That's a hard decision, that.
I think a few names popped to my mind. It wouldn't be this person, but they came to my mind first, which was Roper, just because of like the drama that he installs sometimes. But I would say seriously, I would probably pick Almog. Like, I think he was a really nice guy, a very good player, kind of default orientated, but a very good league player. I hope he's well because of, he's based in Israel, so and obviously he's like ex CKC, so yeah, definitely Almog.
Yeah,
it's not just because his name's there. Like, he was just
he was a great player. Great at elite, great at strategy schemes, great all around.
He was actually pretty impressive in B&G as well. I remember back in the First Blood days when I was on top of B&G there as well, Almog was one of the players that I struggled against. That's when I hadn't quite reached my peak in First Blood, but I was still dominating the league, well, the B&G standings there at least. And he was one of the players that were giving me quite a bit of trouble. He was very strong.
Yeah. He's just a really good competitive player. And yeah.
Oh, I think he was in X2X and also CKC, if I'm remembering.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, another good clan. Yeah, so many good players have come and gone. Like, if we like assembled all the absolute like goated like all-around players, there would be quite a big list.
Crate lands in the same place.
Yeah, and I think like CKC as well is like, I take pride in like players joining and leaving. It's like people like in a job, like where you see them join and you like teach them stuff and then they leave and they go on to do like great things. Like, it's the same with people that have joined like CKC who've like, they joined just as like ropers, and I've like sort of they've been around me and become like really good all-rounders from like playing B&G and other schemes, so like that's always been like pretty fun. Is like,
you are the chicken sensei.
yeah, like I have a lot of there's been a lot of clanners where I'm like kind of spamming it with red whispers, but like they're all like learning, like specifically like Julek or whatever it was called, Julak,
Oh,
the guy
Julek, yeah, the
yeah,
Polish guy.
yeah. So like
I mean, yeah, he got really good.
yeah, and he was like CKC for a long time and stuff, and
He became one of the best TTRR players ever.
Oh yeah, he's yeah. No, he got like
He beat
super good.
He beat Ryan in a cup but once before, which I was
Really?
surprised
Oh.
about. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know if I fully remember, but yeah, he was quite good.
Oh, very good. Those replays are very entertaining to watch as well. They're available on TUS. Right, moving on. Chicken, can you share any advice for aspiring players looking to improve their skills?
don't be scared of losing. I think that's the best advice
Yeah.
I had. Don't care about losing. Like when you're losing, you're learning,
Yeah.
and don't be scared of playing top players. Like I think sometimes I see like new players in TUS and stuff. Really nice. Spicy freeze there.
Good time.
So yeah, like don't be scared of losing. I think like just keep playing and like have a kind of like like it's easy to care about like the standings and everything, but just don't worry about losing. I guess is because you've got to play top players to get better.
Makes sense.
You know, and like there's some people then like I'm sure we've all seen players that avoid playing top players. I think it's great playing top players. You should go into games feeling like nervous against top players because you're going to have a great game and you're going to learn from it. Like just if you can't get better if you just avoid playing them.
That's a good point.
There's not too much avoiding nowadays, but like maybe it's been a thing of the past. I don't know.
Yeah,
yes.
I guess the only real avoiding now is like people who just don't want to play schemes that they don't like, which is understandable. But yeah, that's always a good piece of strategy, and also like I wouldn't say do risky moves, but like sometimes go outside of your comfort zone and do a move that's difficult. Because you're gonna get better at doing that move, like say precisely aiming something, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. That's where like it's good to take risks, isn't it? But like at the same time, it's knowing like if you fail that, like you could lose the match, and I think it just comes with experience, that judgment call of okay, especially like in a scheme like Elite or something. Or like Rope is a bit different. You just got to like try and. Well, no, I guess Rope has it as well. Like, do you decide to like Rope max out, like, and go for the attack, or and potentially fall and take full damage, or do you like just go safe that turn and get the crate and then hide to make it harder and hope that your opponent gets the far crate in the next round, things like that. I guess quite often. But yeah, it's that judgment on when to take the risk and the clutch move.
I'll get you.
And like someone, that's where like you and Dario, and I've certainly seen like there was that. I think Kamito streamed it when you guys did that like variation at intermediate, and there was some insane like clutch.
It was probably me doing some rope knocks.
Yeah, and a jetpack all at the same time, and it was just like crazy.
I think that was like, that was just like what Dario forces you to do if you want to win.
Who's next?
Yeah, it's very hard to pay attention while talking here.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just kind of getting crates and like and hitting you, not really thinking too much about it.
Yeah, too hard.
So, looking ahead, Chicken, what do you hope to have happen for the Worms Armageddon competitive scene and Worms in general?
I would love to see a combined ladder and a centralized league, ideally in Worms, like in WormNet, but if it's community driven and community posted on a website, fine. But I've been saying for a while now, I think because of the size of the community, we are too like fragmented and separated across different like leagues and websites, and like a global ladder where like it bugs me that like I could play intermediate on O and L and intermediate into US, but I will have a different rating for each one. Whereas
That was a very good carpet bomb. It behaved very well.
340.
Yeah, whereas like ideally, you know, you would want all your games in one scheme to count to everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're pretty fragmented at the moment. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like I think it would be great if we could consolidate everything into one league or even like a few schemes. But I don't know. Like we all have many different schemes that we enjoy playing. But I mean, yeah, we would get more activity and more competition, I think, if we just had a smaller number. But I think that would also be better for new players. Like if we just had a limited number of things that they had to learn and not a million things. Let's see. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter if you get me into the water. He's dead either way.
It's just the hide I'm worried about.
bonus points though for getting me in the water.
So yeah, any more questions from the chat? As that's all the questions we have written down.
I guess going back to that point, I'd love to see in-game ranks. You know, it'd be amazing, like matchmaking, like something where like I've got friends that have tried Worms and they've just like come on, struggled to host, you know, and they're not gonna like just something where it's like in the game because people are lazy, you know, like you've got to look at it from like a user experience. We only know about this because we've been here like 20 years, or it's hard for newcomers to come into Worms, and I'd just like to see something where it's easier for new players to get into the game.
I agree.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. But I'm going to add to it. So KRD's asking about your experience with Blood Bowl and tournaments there, and has it affected your mindset when playing Worms Armageddon?
I was trying to avoid talking about Blood Bowl tonight, but I didn't.
You're going to go on a tangent.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to go. I'm not going to go on a tangent because Worms is my true love. You know, it's by far the superior game. Like, Blood Bowl is good, but like Blood Bowl's got more RNG. Like Worms has got way less RNG in. So, like, playing competitive games in a real life environment is really cool. And like in Blood Bowl tournaments where I've like been in for a chance to win something, and then people come over to your table and they watch you play, puts you under so much more pressure than playing competitively at home in the comfort of your home with all your own special chair and your special setup and stuff like that. Like, and maybe you can relate to this slightly, Mad Black, with like doing your speed runs and traveling to like somewhere else, like playing and having all those eyes on you just creates like so much more pressure, which is super cool. You know, like, has it translated into me like taking that mindset and playing better in Worms? I don't think so. I think Worms had made me good at Blood Bowl rather than Blood Bowl has not made me better at Worms or anything. Worms is just making me like a better Blood Bowl player because of this like being used to strategy. You know, I think it's a strategic game with RNG, whereas this has like the mechanics in it and stuff as well. So
looks interesting from what I've seen of it, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of advantages to playing like in real life. No one's gonna cheat. That's a big plus. You can be totally sure about that.
Well, people do cheat, but yeah,
they do.
They do?
What?
How do they cheat at a live Blood Bowl game?
So people like try and trick you with like roll, like people. That's it. So people can.
This is what
they can like basically run the clock, so they can score a goal, and then they can like, oh, I'm going to the toilet, I'm going to go buy a drink, and they like run the. So people get chess clocks out to like make it like, better. You know, like people like manipulate the clock and stuff, I suppose. So that stuff like that can happen, and then and there's been cases of people taking like tilted dice that are like fake, or
Tilted.
like people like taking fixed dice, or some guy with like they use a dice cup and they were like placing a six or the dice cup, the roll they
You've just
needed,
got
like hidden away, and then putting the cup on it and revealing it, being like, "Look, I've rolled that," when they put it underneath it and stuff. So
people who cheat are pathetic.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
pathetic.
it is, yeah.
Cowards.
Oh my
Um,
god.
yeah, but Worms is far superior. It's like they've got better strategy. The RNG is less, but still there, and it's just a better game.
Agreed.
But I would love to do a in Worms event as well. Like I've hosted a couple of Blood Bowl tournaments, and I would really like to do like Swiss style, so everyone gets a game. It's not knockout, and like like a LAN party. Everyone has a computer, and we're all playing, and then everyone gets free games, and whoever gets like the better record sort of wins.
That'd be
That'd
cool.
be really fun. I think
Yeah, you spoke.
really.
You saw. This must have been about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe even last year. Chicken came to me and asked about hosting a local area net or LAN sort of event at a big venue for Worms Armageddon. And he wanted to make it focused purely on intermediate, which is a good idea to have that as a main event. But I said, to make it worthwhile, we should also have tournaments on the side for other people. And I think that's where we had a bit of a disagreement about. You wanted it to be purely intermediate, and I wanted to add different things. So explain
Yeah,
a bit more about that and why.
I think just keeping it simple, just like solely intermediate, like like this, you could have like 12 people turn up and just have like a little tournament would still be a lot of fun. It would
Yeah.
could potentially work. Um,
You
Well,
see,
when
yeah,
that's not something I would personally travel for though, because it would have to have something that I
Right.
like streaming intermediate, but I wouldn't like to travel. I wouldn't like to spend my money to travel to an event that a massive event that takes over a whole weekend that doesn't cover some of the other things that I enjoy. And I think it would be such a shame to not explore and show people the other areas of the game, the other schemes that are available. Because like you don't have to teach them B&G, but Grenade Wars is good. You can teach them roping. You could have different events like that. And I think if you had a few more side events, less important event, just think of intermediate as the main quest, and then you've got side quests. I think it would be more
Yes.
appealing to more people to come if it had a few extra elements. That was my thinking, but
yeah, I
yeah.
get that. I think like whatever way it needs to kind of be a part of like
I do
gaming expo.
I
Like, oh, there's like a
yeah.
PC gaming expo, and it's in some side room, and like people would like take part, because we're not
Yeah.
going to get people from the Worms community really. Like a few people might turn up, but it's going to be like just people. Oh yeah, I want to play that classic cool Worms game
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
So
Let's just
I
have like
mean,
a
I
I
would love an
do
event where it's like mostly new players,
yeah.
like it could be like an educational,
I do definitely
seminar.
agree that intermediate should be the main scheme, the main event. I 100% agree with that. Because that's noob friendly but also pro friendly. You see what I mean?
yeah,
The side events would have to be side events because they're a bit more specialised. It's like some of the schemes are things that takes a while to get good at. You know what I mean?
I think I
I
know.
mean, yeah, it's like no one's gonna get that amazing at roping in a single day, but yeah, there's some. I do think so. Like Squirminator was doing some like live worm stuff in LA, but I haven't heard anything about that. Like he was hosting some like tournaments or something, and I'm not sure what the effects of that have been, but I'm really interested in whatever the hell he's doing.
Yeah, I think you got to start small, but like it'd be really cool to like just get a group of people together and playing Worms and stream it. It would be like a different, nothing like what Squirminator did would be really fun. Can you get up? I don't think you can. Uh-oh.
Right, just letting you
Uh-oh.
guys know that
He can.
we've got about 10 minutes left if we were planning to do 2 hours, but if this finishes now, we could do an elite quickly and then just wrap things up after that.
Sure, or I'm happy to maybe throw some grenades because I don't have to think as much and it's easier to talk.
That would be, yeah, BNG would be easier than this.
Yeah.
Okay, dokie, we'll do
Oh,
a
GG.
quick BNG. GG.
Oh, well, we were only using like 80% of our brains there.
Yeah, I had an MB bomb and I was just waiting for some like low power wind to try and get it through that big HHG hole, to then like try and knock you down and get a plop and ruin the hide and stuff. So yeah, I didn't.
I see. I was thinking like, I was trying to think like, okay, Donkey. There was maybe one time where it could have like got me. I wasn't seeing like anything that could totally decimate me, but I did make yeah. If I'm looking back on that, I made a slight mistake in when I moved my 150 worm, like, because I think you could have probably aqua sheeped him. That could have been potentially bad.
Yeah, I was looking at the aqua coming up when you were kind of close together, but yeah.
I myself will be back in a few minutes because I really need to run to the toilet, so I'll just be 2 minutes while you set up and make a map.
Okay.
I haven't made a DG map for ages. I might just find like a really old one. Okay.
Wait, you save maps?
I have some saved maps like this from like that
Oh
were
my
good.
God.
I know. It's terrible, isn't it? This is very long time ago though. And I don't even have the latest BNG scheme with shotguns and stuff, so I'm gonna have to like edit an old one.
It's
Like
not
here,
crucial.
yeah. You guys can't see my scheme, but like I've got all these old schemes. Like this one's CF and Ole, and above that I've got like Cool when he's in AWE. I've got like Dev T, OK and CFC, Bizarrio. I've got some pretty old schemes here, or like old
Wait,
names
those
as
are
well.
the names? Like the names are just
Yeah,
players?
I've extracted them from the game, so like I don't. It's not even.
And now you just
me.
remember what they correspond to? Like,
Yeah, so
cool,
my
that's
BNG
BNG.
Yeah, so this scheme with CF Ole and Chicken23 on 2006 0910 is a BNG scheme.
How do you... Okay, that's pretty funny. I guess I have that. I've done that before with some schemes. But
And then
at
I
some
said,
point, I renamed them.
yeah. So are we having shotguns? What are we doing? I don't know the
Right,
new BNG
I
rules.
am back.
It doesn't really matter. I'll put shotguns in and we'll just throw some grenades.
Yeah, darts would be too complex for people, to be honest, at a local event.
Was there any more like questions at all, or
Just can you put 120 HP just so it doesn't go on forever?
Right.
should just do 150?
Ah, that'll do.
I'm sure it won't be too long.
Needs to be finished by 1:15.
We can just if it's not done, then we can just stop. So it's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Good luck, guys. So this
like
is
a good map.
This is
This is,
interesting for me to watch.
This is one of those double stacked maps. You have the trees that have been turned into regular land, and atop those, the actual trees.
It's actually one of the... When I made my map making tutorial, I forgot to explain that technique.
It's not bad. I mean, it gives you some high little places.
So I used to like, and we could. I don't have to like.
No, KRD. The only thing better than a minus forest map is a double forest map.
So I used to. I don't think I like officially notched, but like I would do like how Mad Black's loading there. Like I do it slowly, and then I used to know. Wow. See, I used to know the distance like of my screen, if that made sense. And now I don't really know it. Like I've not been as good on this.
BNG is like, I don't know. It's really hard. You have to like have the right resolution. You have to warm up.
Yeah, like I'm tempted to move already because you like know the notch for that space, which you probably will do in this one.
Oh, let me see. Let me see. Okay, so that's there. Wait. 13, 14. I gotta use my fingers. Wait. Okay.
I'm watching you on Twitch to see how you're like. So you're using your fingers to like, and you said 13. So you know it's 13 taps. Look at him concentrate.
Yeah, no, it's like, okay, so it's a full screen length, then a little act. Oh, of course I wasn't gonna hit dead on, but
Yeah, because you know that the longer the distance is, the further down it'll travel because it doesn't go as high. The further it's aimed, obviously. So you've got to take that into consideration as well. However, it is a decent open.
it's not bad.
Oh dear.
A little
Yeah, I
bit
should really be
undercut
doing. This does show though, like you can't just toss like full power 4-second grenades because there's lots of places where it's just not gonna work.
Yeah.
That's why.
Wait, that is.
That's why. Like, I've got full knowledge of both being able to count shots and just playing instinctually. And that's how you know. That's how you can beat a player who can only play properly if all they do is notch and count out their notches.
Yes, sir.
They're actually quite easy to beat because they rely on being able to count out their shots that you can hide in the places where it's against that if you also know what it is.
That is true. You have to really like be thinking about it a lot.
Whoops.
Oh, let's see.
I think I saw Gregor asked about meeting wormers. I think I've met Dario recently, but in addition to Dario, I met Crazy Worm and Dexter. I think he was called.
You met Dexter.
Yeah.
Dexter's the guy who has that really famous clip of doing a perfect rope turn against me.
Oh, really?
Like, where he like goes across the map and back and just nails me perfectly. It was like there's a really nice it was probably on like one of the best move compilations.
Yeah, I remember that.
Whoops.
So, KRD's asking, what's some game features that Chicken would like to see in future updates? Personally, I'm looking forward to the uncapped FPS so that you can actually play the game without being able to notch. Because I want to get rid of notching so badly. But it would have to be it would have to be a feature, not forced.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in-game features. It's harder for me to see. I'd love to see the ranks, like I said in WormNet, but
oh yeah,
I'm just doing this one feel. In-game features. I don't know really. Oh, look at that. Actually, when I don't try and notch, I do better.
Oh, good shot. Good shot.
Revenge.
Yes,
sir.
I don't know. Like, I kind of really enjoy all the in-game features we have. Like, there's obviously, like, I know they're doing things to make things like improve the specs and stuff. A big thing would be, and maybe this is a thing that affects like the competitive worm scene.
You
is
can't
like
lie doing here, though, pal. Sorry.
We can't go back into replays, like being able to restore a replay if that counts.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be crucial for chaos.
Yeah.
Our weapons stockpile, and it's like it's so hard to restart a match.
Yeah, that. I got distracted by Dr. Drake Ramori there for a second. Were you talking about the ability to reconnect to games if there was a drop there?
Yeah.
Because that is pretty much one of the, if not the biggest one that people are asking for.
Yeah, definitely that. I think how many games that's affected in the past is huge, isn't it? So, but like, I guess I think it's. I don't know if I'm being too like conservative in saying that like I think it's great like this whole like area to like create more weapons and more schemes like inventing weapons is probably really good for like new players and stuff. Um, but then like for
Yes, sir.
competitive play, does that just like create more fragments, like more schemes to master and stuff? Like it's really like does Worms? I don't know if Worms should
Or,
like go that way
or
or is that
instead of creating new schemes, we could add them to existing schemes. But it all depends. I mean, it's like leagues
Hey, nice shot.
are always dependent on the leader of the league making decisions about what's available and what's not. I mean, if you did have a centralized league, which is what TUS is going to do, is the idea that Mental and I came up with, which is where it doesn't matter what you play, you can group any scheme together and view the standings for that group of schemes. So if you want to see who the best actual all-rounder is, you select every single scheme. So that means sorry, hold on. Drake, come on then. Come on, pal. Go down there now. Go on that wee seat there. So you've got the TUS main league, the TUS free league, and then some of the other schemes that are
Watch this.
played, but they don't go in any of the leagues, like the Wormopoly, One of Everything, stuff like that. Those schemes. And what you can do, for me, for example, I would like to play. So I could play BNG, darts, and big rope race. And if those were the only three that I was currently interested in, I can play those three and then select just those three and see who's got the standings for just those three schemes. You can compare one or as many as you want, and I think that's a great feature that we're going to have.
I think that sounds like a really I think like because I made that post on TUS a while ago and it was basically what you and Mental had like proposed and it looks like Monkey Island's going to do that and
Yeah.
like so we don't have TTLs all the separate leagues and put everything
Yeah.
together and then you like opt in to the playoffs that you want to be a part
Yeah,
of. Like,
exactly. It's not going to be though. There's not going to be playoffs for everything. I think.
it has to hit a certain criteria of so many
Yes.
games, that popularity. Like, I think that
Yes.
sounds like a really good.
And I think it's like the playoffs. There's going to be a limit on how many playoffs actually get played. Like, sorry, Drake, you can't come up there now. Sorry, pal. Because not when I've got all this stuff on the desk. Sorry.
Sorry?
Oh yeah, make him explain the banana pattern. How seriously does he believe in that hypothesis?
Yeah, it's I believe in it quite strongly, or do I? But like, there's like it's not it's it's on F2 weapons. I notice it the most. So like, it can be like a cluster as well, but. It was a running joke, wasn't it? You know, like, oh, you get a banana, and then like the turn later or the next turn, it's another banana. But like, I think it's just a coincidence, and it's just like now that I've pointed that out, like, it's just something that we pick up on. But or maybe it existed and Dead Code fixed it as a bug, but it's just never actually been admitted. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
I
mean,
do you know what's
there's a lot of RNG sometimes see, and this game is like, it's old. I have to feel like its RNG algorithms are sort of like more deterministic, so there could be some like weird patterns that you wouldn't see them in the code or anything, but they're really there, you know?
I've had it happen in B&G quite often where I got a really good wind, which is, for me, 0, 1 or 2 are the 3 ones you want. And I've seen it happen many times where we went a whole game, like you could be playing for 20 minutes, didn't get a single good wind, and then you finally get a good wind, you get a hit, and then the opponent gets a really good wind, and they get a good hit. See it so many times.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the wind algorithm is we know it's controlled to some extent by like if you're further left on the map, you get right
Yeah.
wind. If you're further right on the map, you get left wind. But beyond that, no one's done a deep dive on like what the actual numbers are. Or maybe Deadcode has at some point. Like maybe he's seen like, if you do 100 turns, what happens, or 1,000 turns. But
So nice digging
Yeah.
here by both players. Now they're both very open here.
I've been trying to hit you, not dig, but the misses have been digs.
Very useful.
And
Good
now
to
I'll
watch
get hit.
B&G on that. Scan lines.
Um,
Chew on this.
no one's asked me what my
Oh.
least favorite scheme is.
what is it?
You had it coming.
Wall for wall.
Yes, sir.
Ah,
Wait,
wall
wall-
to wall, yeah.
Yeah.
Why
You say
is that
wall
your
to
least
wall.
favourite?
Yeah.
So you like even TTRR and Big Rope Race more?
Oh, no, that's so bad. Yeah, I do. I prefer TTRR, and I probably prefer. Yeah, I do. I prefer them both to wall for wall. I just don't like it. I don't know why. Like the other, it's just. I
So
like Mole Shopper better.
even
I do.
you hate that even more than Mole Shopper.
Yeah, Mole Shopper's fun. I haven't played Mole Shopper for years, but when I played it, it was kind of okay. Like maybe it's a completely different scheme now, but it was kind of crazy. Just like the maps, like I know they're all like just the artwork on some of the maps were quite hilarious. I should have challenged to Mole Shopper, shouldn't I?
Well,
I just
shoppers
remember
are-
it being like
yeah.
a fun scheme. Like it didn't seem like
There's
people
some
played it for
strats.
fun. It wasn't competitive. So like I don't know. Like Zalo and people were obviously like really good at it. So there must be something going for it, surely.
Yeah, there's some legit strats, I think, but I also never got into it. It is sort of like you just see this map, it's a square block, you got the circles. It does seem like a bit samey map wise, but I mean it's not bad.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I guess like I was saying, I like Team 17, and then obviously like Elite and Intermediate. Like it's the variation and the strategy. Like even though B&G was like my first scheme, like it's not my love and passion anymore. Like I struggle sometimes to play B&G and Clanners because I don't have the patience to wait for my turn. Like at least what me and Mablak are doing now, like I'm getting my turn super quickly. That's okay, you know?
It's pretty yeah, it does like throw you off, It's like you have four people, you have to wait, and it's like golf sort of like you have to
man.
really think about your shot, and it's if you miss it, it's just like okay,
Yeah.
wait another like 5 minutes for my turn.
Yeah, and that's a bit shit. Like sometimes, like I much prefer 1 versus 1, but like, excuse me, but like in default schemes, even when you're clanning, you're talking to you're talking to your partner about strategy and I'll dig him and teleport here and stuff. But there's just a lot more complexity to like the strategy, I suppose.
B&G has a surprisingly amount of strategy involved,
Sir.
especially when it comes to 2 versus 2.
I'd like
But
to try
Dave, that's
grenade
only
wars.
if you can hit your targets with pinpoint accuracy, which you can do.
I mean, there are other players who can do, like Rocket. I've said that Rocket's one of, like, he beat me in a 1 versus 1 the other day. Granted that I did try playing a bit fancy at the start, and by the time he hit me in that, it was too late, but I started playing very seriously, and he played very well. He's one of
Nice.
the only players I've ever seen who I believe could surpass my skill if he played enough, but I don't think he ever will, and that's not because he's not got the potential, it's because there are just not enough players who are playing B&G.
Yeah, I think anyone that dedicates enough time can get to that, Like we saw it, like
Coming.
Good shot.
yeah,
Yes,
nice.
sir.
And I got nice wind as well.
See, it's like that. That's yeah. I planned that. That was my strat to push him. But I mean, it's like you can do that if you're like really, if you know you can like hit something on point. But
Yeah.
it's really hard to get that level of accuracy.
Like the only other person that I saw who had that level of accuracy was Barman, but
Yeah.
he was counting his shots like notching totally, completely. He didn't have much instinctual experience with B&G. So he was able to beat everybody else with precision perfectly, but it's a shame I wasn't still playing in my form. I had sort of stopped playing for a while when he came around. I can't remember what it was. I think it was when the whole DT sharing charts on how to count out your shot thing, I got annoyed at it and I just sort of stopped playing. Because I thought to myself, I thought to myself, I know how to do that stuff, but it's boring. I don't see the point in playing the game if that's how you're going to play it. It's like, to me, it's as if I'm using, why don't I use tool assist to rope then? If you're going to use math like that, why don't you use some, but yeah, that's a conversation we don't really need to get into. But...
Oh, if you mean like he was, like, you know, if he had like notes out or something, I would say that he may not have been doing that. But I mean, you honestly never know is the thing, so I don't know.
Oh, I knew he was counting his shots because I could see him individually notch in his games. And he also combined with the sprite counting. That's how Walrus plays as well, by the way, which he's openly admitted, as he counts out the sprites. Good shot. Very good push.
I just did. I just knew from my distance that Matt Black, I assume, is about the third movement of the grenade sprite, and then I aimed accordingly.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what I'm doing, but the additional step beyond that, like using notes, I think is not kosher.
Notes? What do you mean notes?
Like having the numbers written out in front of you, and then you look at them.
Oh no, I don't think he had notes written down, but I wouldn't put it past him if he had like, because you can put a ruler on your screen and you can memorize the numbers.
You could do a lot of things. You could like have transparency.
Like even in Hysteria, Castle was caught talking on a forum about how to use scripts to get perfect shots. And the funny thing is, he was using them in, well, I can't say for sure if he was or wasn't, but he was caught talking about wanting to do it in Worms Armageddon, basically. And he would do it perfectly. He would do it perfectly in Hysteria, but he was so easy to beat in B&G, and I didn't understand that. Good shot, by the way, and good game.
How could he do it in Hysteria but not B&G?
I don't know, because I remember playing him in B&G and he was super easy to beat. And he beat me like 7 games. And so when I was playing the rotated, the TRL Hysteria season, I was dominating everybody, like absolutely annihilating everybody. And then along comes Castle, who, as far as I knew a couple of months ago, was just terrible at B&G. And all of a sudden he's throwing shots that are like almost pixel perfect, hitting me with all these shots. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then tried playing him in B&G, and he sucks. He just couldn't B&G. It was just weird.
That's interesting. But sometimes people, like, I've experienced like under pressure in in Hysteria. Sometimes you just throw better shots, and you don't, like, when you're like really pressured to do so.
It wasn't the jetpack shots, but you can macro those. Like, with the Wooten, right? With the Wooten keyboard, you can set it up because there's... So you can have one button set up to do 8 sequences or 4 sequences. So on the point twice down, it'll do something, and then twice up, it'll do something. And it's not cheating in the way that we currently know macro, because it's not a macro. It's not using one signal to do multiple things. It's based on pressure.
Right. I think it's like, as new games come out, this will be more standardized as like an accepted thing.
Yeah.
But maybe for old games, there's going to be a lot of debate about like whether you can use that stuff.
They've actually banned... there's something called SOCD, which I can't remember, and Razer, I think it was Razer who made that, and then Wooten copied them and called it Rappy Snappy. I don't think it's anything that's useful for Worms Armageddon players, but basically it means when you're strafing, or counter strafing in like CS:GO or Valorant or whatever, it's the way that you press the A and the D together. You just get very. I can't. I don't know how to explain it, but if you want to look it up, you can go and look up the videos for that. But yeah, it's like, how can you make up rules for something that's impossible to detect? Because it literally is not a macro. So how do you detect it if it's not a macro?
Right. It'll probably be like, I mean, it's honestly one of those things. It's not even a big deal. It's just that everyone should be on the same like level, you know?
I said, I said I was going to do it in the Tsar Cup, and I did. I used it, so I just rope, and then when I press enter, on the way down, it selects it, and then when I release it, it fires it. You see?
Wait, like isn't that like really hard to get used to?
No, really. It's very useful because you can you press the enter down to select it, and you're still controlling the arrows, right? You do still have to time it, and there's still a little bit of skill involved, and you've got to make sure that you don't release it past the pressure point too quickly, or you're going to blow yourself up.
Oh, right.
But it's like you can do with routing the dynamic keystroke thing. You can if I'm not mistaken, it's possible to have it do up to 8 things going down and
insane.
coming up, which is mental.
It is insane. I think we should probably get some TUS rules on that.
Yeah.
Like, is it allowed? Not. I guess like for roping, like for I would want to know people's opinions for something like finger roll, because that could make finger roll like vastly easier.
Oh, it does. I can do the perfect. Well, when I first got the routine, I spent about a month doing warmer solid, practicing the finger roll, and I had the perfect scroll, like the way that TAS does it basically. But I couldn't do it all the time, and I couldn't do it long enough because my fingers would get exhausted, etc. I was thinking the same thing, Sensei, and apparently, right, so we'll just ask you, Chicken, how are you blurring the background out?
It's just a Discord setting on the webcam, I think, on webcam settings.
It looks surprisingly good. Most of the time it like blurs out your shoulders and stuff.
Yeah, it's just nice. It's like you get it on Zoom for meetings and stuff, and then I just blurred the background.
But my Black, you're right. It's one of those things where you've got to think, this is becoming the standard. Is it something that you want to try and ban, or something that you accept, people accept openly? I mean, I
think for it really depends on the like situation. Like for speed runs, I would say like we want to ban that for like Armageddon speed runs, because like there's a bunch. I think there's a bunch of things you could potentially do, but then again, it wouldn't totally change everything. It's just like, I think there's a lot of things like, geez.
How would you detect it though?
I guess it doesn't do everything that a macro could. Like, let's say you wanted to lay a perfect mine on a worm's head and go the right amount of nudges. I don't think it could quite do that, because I don't think you could have the left arrow pressed for just a second. But I mean, you could make a macro that would do that, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think there's a few like little areas where it would change things, and
it allows you.
I think it's like, I would definitely be fine with it if it was a keyboard that like anybody could get, which at the moment it's not.
Yeah, because it is very, very expensive. Like for the cheapest variant, it's way over £100. Like the Wooten 60 HE cost me £182, I think, including delivery. For me, but then the new one that I'm getting, that's £100 even more expensive, because I'm getting the zinc alloy, you know. But it's one of those things that, is it affordable? Is it fair? Because you can also make the point, well, some players already have very expensive keyboards. Some players already have very expensive monitors with the lowest refresh rates. And it's like, how where do you draw the line? If it's illegal to use an advanced expensive keyboard, then why is it not illegal to use an expensive advanced monitor or an expensive advanced mouse?
This is why
That's the thing.
that like if we ever did like in-person tournaments, everyone's on the same playing field. You get to like
everyone gets a standard issue keyboard.
exactly. Everyone gets the same
PS2
keyboard. Yeah.
from the late 90s.
Yeah.
Just like a brick.
Yeah.
You have to all be given like 1999 spec PCs to play it on the same like gateway or something, you know.
Just the old monitors, yeah.
Yeah.
KRD, you sort of can script notching, because it's the amount of MS that the button, or the signal rather, is being used for. So if you do it for like how many MS I don't know the Worms Armageddon game engine as much as some people do, but you can basically do it to press it down for that amount of milliseconds that does one notch. And then you could also have it do it like that, take a quick break, that, take a quick break, that, take a quick break, but it does it really fast, so you might not even be able to tell that somebody's notching, but they would have multiple macros already ready, depending on where the player is on the screen. Yeah, but the good thing is nobody does that because we can catch the macros. You see,
you'd catch that pretty fast, I think. Also, like, yeah, it's just like there's enough. Most people that still play are like relatively cool about things and are not cheaters. So,
but see, Gregor, you say you would love standardized peripherals, but it's not happening. I mean, what would like?
Yeah,
if it was standardized, as in everybody had to use the same, it's a good idea in theory, but it would still have to be good equipment.
Sure. I think just like give keyboards another like 20 years, everyone's gonna have like just a maxed out like amazing keyboard standard.
Because as I've been showing, like I've got my keyboard collection right now, and even the very cheap keyboards I've been buying are very good. Now, the one I got last night isn't. You
got another one?
Yeah, I got another one that I done a review for last night, and I've got it. I've actually got it right here next to me.
My God.
It's this one, and it cost me £38, and what I found was for ground schemes, for individual notches, perfect, right? For roping, it's very good, but it doesn't. So for people who do the very, very fast double tap, like myself and yourself, Mablack, for the top tier, sometimes it misses an input because you're doing it that fast, right?
That's not good.
Which is not good. But for players who play a slightly slower style, like Ryan or Blitzed, who aren't the very fastest tappers, it handles that fine. You see what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's something about like the polling rate of keyboards. Like if it's actually like too high, I think for old games like Worms 2 or Armageddon, that can maybe be not good. Because I actually tried a mechanical keyboard for like Worms 2, and sometimes it wouldn't detect the key presses if I did them really, really fast. Because I think it's just like the game wouldn't deal with like high polling rates or something. Like it was too old. Like I don't know.
But the keyboard was surprisingly, like for someone, it was a surprisingly good keyboard, like 80%. I think it was like an 80% or 75%. It's a TKL one anyway. And very, very nice for typing, and it's got that what they call fork on the space bar. It's got a nice space bar fork, which is what people apparently like. For any other game, I would say this is a great keyboard, but for Worms specifically, the space bar is so important. I tried using the key remapper to a few different buttons as well, and it still had the same issue.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, luckily most keyboards now have like
Now,
NKRO, also like no key rollover. There was a period of time where we all had to deal with like these keyboards. And like most keyboards you would buy would just be like you can't hold down 3 buttons at the same time.
Yeah, I had
maybe
one of
it's
them.
just in a
Yeah.
hundred. What do you mean by that?
I had key lock where like if I had like the arrow keys and then you hit space, space wouldn't happen, so you'd have to learn to rope around like that key lock, yeah. So you were like not holding like 2 arrow keys at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah, I had that for years. That's probably why I didn't like roping, maybe.
that was fucking awful. Like, I mean, I think some keyboards still have that, but
Yeah.
most new ones seem to not. But I mean, it's like that was a horrible downgrade from like
Yeah,
this
I remember.
PS2, like
Do you
the
know what?
old purple connections
I'll just
didn't have that
actually
at all.
show it just now. I'll show it while you're talking there because I've bought myself another 5-10 minutes. So let me
There's a
just
thing.
set
There's a
it
period
up and
as
show
well,
you.
when I lived in Canada, like, and I was still playing Worms quite a lot, you know, competitive. Like, I think it was when you guys joined CKC and stuff. Like, I was just playing on my laptop keyboard, and like, it was fine for BNG and Elite, but like, I could still kind of rope on it, but it wasn't great. But like, playing on a crappy little like laptop keyboard, and like now I'm still on a laptop, but I have a USB plug-in keyboard and stuff, so it's okay. But like, you just kind of adapt. Like, like it's just when you like make a mistake for a keyboard, it's an excuse, isn't it? You know, like
Yeah. Well, in college, I also had to deal with that. It really did destroy my roping for like a year. I was like, but I think it was also the resolution change.
yeah.
Oh,
So
cool
And
keyboard.
it's a nice
Like the
did you
yellow
looking
do
space.
keyboard,
schemes though?
okay?
Is that when you like got into intermediate or anything like that, Mad Black? Was like,
Uh,
did it affect what schemes you were playing?
It was just like freshman year of college, and well, I was still roping and stuff, but I
Right.
was just like constantly complaining, like, fuck this. Grr."
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone thought I was making excuses, but I wasn't. It was the keyboard. I didn't have my true Dell keyboard.
Hold on. Because I'm just going to show you that the issue that it has. On the stream, but I will switch over in a minute so you can see it. So you won't be able to see my black and stuff for a second, but I'll show you this because if I've got the right thing on here, you can see that there. I need to put that on so you can see what buttons I'm pressing. I need to choose the right Worms Armageddon. So you'll see the issue. You'll see the issue that I have with the space. See, it sometimes works, so it's good. It's good enough. It seems to be doing a lot better today than yesterday. But it's... That's what I was having issues with, was the very fast scrolling, but... Whoa! Just give me a second to try and get a perfect pick.
It's hard to tell.
It's actually doing quite good right now.
Oh. But that's the thing. If it happens once every like, even if it only happens once every like 100 times, that's enough for it to suck.
When I try to do a shadow there,
Just kind of, yeah. It's yeah.
you can see that it's a good keyboard, but I feel slightly off with it. Like it missed it fucked up there. There again.
That's enough. Yeah, if it's like, yeah, if it happens just once, that's too much.
But if like, so for example, when I rope normal like this, it's fine because I don't tap spacebar quite as fast. You see? So you can still get a good keyboard, So if you do rope race like this,
it can be hard to tell too sometimes, because like if the like that just the key like travel time is a little different, then that it can feel like you're pressing down and you're not.
it doesn't do those double-handed tap. I don't know what it doesn't do double-handed taps, which is weird. See how it does it? It misses one every now and again. You see that?
Specifically says on the back of the keyboard, does not work with double-handed taps.
So I wonder, KRD was saying 125 hertz or something. So I really don't know, but
Yeah.
if you get the rope, you can see that you can press it with individual notches. Actually, aye, there we go. If you just tap it, it's a little bit difficult, but you can get it. Actually,
it seems like most keyboards are most new keyboards now are like much better at that.
Yeah, bit of going.
My ancient PS2 is actually quite bad.
So it's not
like whip.
It's not the worst keyboard in the world, but it's nice for typing on. You know, it sounds good to type on. Like if I turn the microphone right up, and you listen to the space bar.
ASMR. We're segueing into a keyboard review. It always ends there. Yes. Wonder what other games require the kind of keyboard precision that we need. It's like rope. I haven't seen anything. There's only like Osu.
Like surely like first-person shooters and stuff. Like they're all into like mad responsive and great keyboards, right?
Right. Yeah.
Whack-a-mole.
Just yeah. It's the only game I've seen is Osu, which is like you're constantly just twiddling.
Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird. Yeah. Of course. Let us know in chats.
I guess I had a question for you guys as well, if that's okay. Like, where do you see like the future of Worms going? Like, obviously we've been through lots of different generations and lots of activity and less activity, and speed runs have like emerged, and like there's so much like there's always stuff happening in Worms, which is great. But like, where do you see the future of Worms going? Yeah.
Supposedly they couldn't hear me there. So what I was saying, sorry, I have to say that again because I had muted my microphone like an idiot. So the question, where do we think it's going? So what I was saying is, when we had Dead Code on the stream, he revealed that they now have permission to release updates pretty much as they see fit. So there's not going to be like they make an update that's ready to be released and then they have to wait a year or more for it to be approved by Team 17. As soon as they have a working version of an updated game, they can actually apply that when they feel it's ready. and I think that that's going to be a huge boost. You see, I can't wait to see what features, pardon me, they're going to bring over the next few years.
I think that will help. I think this console re-release of Armageddon could be interesting because if they have like ranked on there, we could get a lot of people getting into it. I'm not sure how many would come to the PC version, but
Would they ever be
we'll see.
crossplay? You know, like if they've got ranked on there, and then like what is there like? What does that mean? Like, could there be like probably not with the game dynamic being so different, but you have it crossplay on other games, don't you? You know, Rocket League and stuff.
One thing I saw, so in the trailer for the re-release, they have a health crate, but it's green instead of red. So they did there was fuckery with the game.
Oh,
So it looks like you wouldn't be able to.
of course.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, maybe Dead Code will have to implement that along with that. It's like we need you to make this one change.
Or if they make
But,
if they make that crossplay and ranked, the console players are just going to get whooped.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
like,
you-
honestly.
I'm gonna be on there
Yeah.
day one.
You're
if I
rubbing
can
your
just-
hands.
If I could just get my if I could just hook up a keyboard somehow,
Exactly.
I'm gonna.
That's what I was
That would be
thinking
fun.
as well.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if it's the same game physics and you could somehow hook up a keyboard, like,
Yeah.
Because
Aside from that, though,
you could literally get an Xbox Series for like £100 second hand off Facebook from some mum who's grounded her kid from playing it, so she's selling it really cheap to teach him a lesson or something like that. But yeah,
Did you think the WA re-release then on console shows that Team 17 are still quite like caring of the Worms franchise, and
Yeah.
then like by like enabling Dead Code and Cyber Shadow to have like more power to make updates and releases, like they're kind of backing them more? Like, I know there was this post where the guy came into Sensei's server and said that they're obviously like going to keep the servers running and don't worry about that and all this kind of stuff.
yeah, that's cool. Last
think,
question though, because I'm like 20
yeah.
minutes overdue now. I got carried away with keyboards.
Oh yeah, I think it's I think it shows that Team 17 cares. They care at least enough to keep like Armageddon going. I think they'll come out with a new Worms game. It's been like 8 years since Worms WMD came out, so I think they'll do that too. It would be kind of crazy if they just gave up on Worms, or if they kept trying like weird new like Worms Rumble kind of things, because they've seen that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they'll come back because like it seems like they always come back. Like they did Worms 3D, but then they came back to like 2D Worms. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they'll make more.
I'm
like-
hoping that they're starting to realise that Worms Armageddon's the best version of the Worms franchise that's ever going to exist.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they will put more effort towards helping Dead Code and Cyber Shadow make 4.0 a reality instead of a pipe dream.
Yeah, and then like re-release Worms Armageddon on the PC, I'd happily like.
I would
pay for
have,
it.
yeah.
Like even if it was like, if there was like a you know, like some games you have to have like a fee, like, don't you? Nintendo Switch, you pay to play online, don't you, and stuff,
Yeah.
because it's like all the ladders and stuff. Like they could easily commercialize it, like, or
Yeah.
make more money if they make it decent. But yeah.
I probably wouldn't pay if it was a subscription-based service thing, but I would definitely pay something like £50 or £60 if it was a 4.0 re-released with all the things, all the features, like being able to reconnect, real-time worms, uncappable or like faster frames per second so that there's no such thing as notching. All these features and many more, if they had all them, I would definitely pay for the game again. But that brings us to an end, I'm afraid, folks. So first of all, I would like to thank, as usual, Chicken for coming on. Thanks very much. You've been an excellent guest. Taught me a lot of history that I never knew about before because, as you know, I was a roper when I first started and I wasn't involved in the strategic scene, so there's a lot of things there that I learned. So thank you for your excellent knowledge. And as well,
Yeah, man.
obviously, as usual, Mablak for being an excellent co-host here, running the show
course.
pretty much. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed the stream. And the next stream is going to be this month as well. And it's going to be Foxhound on the 27th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just go and check. So Friday, September the 27th at 11 PM, which is 10 PM GMT. We have episode 7 featuring Foxhound, who is like a local historian of Worms. A little bit of a newer player, but I know that went weird for a second because I changed window, but we're back. So yeah, thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend and then your week.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.